Meeting is called to order. The Runnemede Board of Education meeting is called to order. The Board of Education is in compliance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975, entitled the Open Public Meetings Act. The time, date, and location of this meeting was appropriately advertised by notifying the retrospect as well as posting notices in the Borough Hall, Runnemede Post Office, Maryville School, Alliant Bingham School, Grace Downing School, and the Runnemede Public School District website. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call board members.
Ms. Beebe?
Here.
Mr. Buckheim?
Here.
Ms. Stevenson? Mr. Lego?
Here.
Ms. Panzarello?
Here.
Ms. Spalding?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Also present, Mark Iannucci, Superintendent, Sean McCarron, Business Administrator, Supervisor of Curriculum and Instruction, Jade Yezzi, Principal, Bingham Downing Schools, Steve Peely, Principal, Maryville School, Bill Silva, Vice Principal, Maryville School, Gladys Hubbard, Child Study Team Supervisor, and Frank Hines, Supervisor of Building and Grounds. Thank you for being here. I need a motion to approve the minutes for the regular and executive session meeting on June 27th. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Mr. Legault was here, so he would be excited. Okay.
I make a motion to approve the regular and executive session meetings from June 27th.
Motion made by Maria, seconded by Angel.
Any questions?
Roll call.
Ms. Beebe?
Yes.
Mr. Buckheim?
Yes.
Mr. Lego?
Yes.
Ms. Panzarello?
Yes.
Ms. Spalding?
Yes.
Motion passes.
I need a motion to approve the financial report period ending July 2017,
I'll
please.
make that motion.
Motion made by Chaz,
I'll second.
seconded by Maria. Roll call.
Ms. Beebe?
Yes.
Mr. Buckheim?
Yes.
Mr. Lego?
Yes.
Ms. Panzarello?
Yes.
Ms. Spalding?
Yes.
Motion passes.
At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Iannucci.
Real quick, I want to, before we begin presentation of goals and the rest of our meeting, I just want to introduce some people in the audience. Some of our new hires are away this week, but one of our full-time new hires, Ms. Saravo, is here. She's taking over preschool 3. Ms. Saravo, this is your 3rd year coming up with us. She served in capacity as a instructional aide, and last year she served as a part-time instructional aide, part-time preschool teacher. She did a wonderful job, so we're happy to have her on full-time.
Oh, I have a 3-year-old.
Welcome. Bless you all in that program. Bless you. Bless you.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Ms. Purpose, I'll introduce you. Ms. Spalding told me to. Ms. Purpose is currently doing her internship for educational leadership. So she's here to see the inner workings of the board meeting or retreat. So I think she's working with Mrs. Yezzi and Dr. McCarron and any other administrator lend a hand. She's doing a great job. She's got some great ideas.
She's currently one of our district employees.
Yes. And then finally, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Alex Talafero, who is a bittersweet, is leaving the district to go on to an administrative role in another district. I wish him the best, but I wanted to come here and say a few words before he left.
Yeah, I just wanted to come here in person. First of all, excuse me, my mouth there, I had a little dental work on my top lip. Practicing as it should, but I just wanted to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Coming in as a 23-year-old, I didn't know which way it was up or down, and at 31, I still don't necessarily know which way it's up or down, but everybody in this room has really helped to guide me and helped to turn me into the man that I am today. Incredibly grateful to the board, to my administrative staff, and everybody else who's here. This is probably the first time where, as far as relationships go, we're saying on such a positive note, but came in as a stranger and feel like I'm leaving as family. So I'm trying not to get choked up here, but you guys are all, Runnemede is like my second home now, and I love you guys there. So thank you.
Thank you. Best of luck to you. We'll miss you.
Thank you very much.
You got some really upset 5th graders. I told them to come over to discuss why you left.
I'll definitely be back to visit, for sure.
Thank you very much. Right now, we are going to get into presentation. Oh, before we get into that, if you've walked around the buildings, any of the buildings, when you drive the vaults, you see some new things going on. So I'm gonna give Mr. Hines an opportunity to explain some of the things that happened. Do you have your paper out in front of you here?
That one, no, I don't have that.
You want me to
I
give it to
know.
you so you can-
No,
you know it.
You don't have to stay. I feel bad. Like,
There's been a lot of activity going on in all three buildings, still going on.
Good luck.
We have some workers going on down, probably as we speak right now, finishing up the bathroom project
They
and
are
everything
working
else.
over it now.
We have some other things happening in the next couple of days or so. You ready
The
to
new
do?
sign should be done by the end of the week.
Let Frank take it over.
If you notice all the floors, like the carpet hallways, there's no more carpet hallways. The treads and the stairwells at Bingham and Downing are completely gone. They're repainted, everything's been redone. We had a pipe leaking in the boiler room. We abated the whole entire room. So now we can move on to painting the boiler room and upgrading stuff. They're gonna replace that water line there. Like I said, the signs are gonna be done hopefully by the end of this week. And the air conditioning is running. If you wanna take a look at it. The APR room.
Here on Saturday morning.
The wall out front was kind of a safety issue, so we had the wall replaced. The tree, which was a little bit controversial, that was taken down. And the playground itself will be done October 7th. So we're moving along with everything, and hopefully we'll get all the carpet out and make it more of a asthma-friendly school. So we're getting there.
They've worked very hard this year, the summer staff. And the school's doing great, in my opinion. Maybe sometime we can take a walk through, and we can do something, I could videotape some stuff, we show it to you, we don't want to do it tour of all things.
Just bring it up, Mr. Honest, Mr. Silva and I took a walk today. The school looks brighter, they put new paint on the hallway walls, floors look great. Building's in really good shape. And there's a lot going on. Good job of scheduling stuff, and it's really looks good.
Thank you for all of your hard work.
I was gonna say, just to add on, Bingham and Downing are like transformed. The tile flooring is just amazing. It is so beautiful, and just the fact that all the carpet is gone, and it just makes you just feel like fresh and clean. And I think like the students are loving it. The staff is coming back with big smiles, and they're really excited. I mean, I've never seen so much work being done regularly. I mean, the fence guys, the signs up, I mean, everything. It's just been like, and to see like projects completed, and even the workers seemed happy this summer. I don't know if it was because it was like a mild summer. I don't know. It just seemed like it was really good vibe. Things are getting accomplished. And I kept telling Frank, like, I'm just, was really, grateful for someone to kind of lead the way. The fence is outside at Bingham. The planning for the playground. A lot has been accomplished in the last 2 months. So I commend you for that. You did a great job.
There's more things to be done, obviously. Frank and I have talked about some things moving forward. We need some more fence work, I know, out here at Bolts, and some of the other places, but we're getting there, so.
We're replacing the fence with, I think it looks a little nicer with the black, so we're going to the black fence. It's coated and everything, so it's more protected, and it just looks more elegant, and it makes the school look
Oh, that,
nicer.
like the chain link
Yeah.
black fence?
Yeah, yeah.
Right,
It's maintained so much.
And we put a new gate on over at Bingham so that it rolls a lot easier, and it's coming along really nice. We opened up the playground area because they used to have like this little funnel area. So we did away with the whole fence, and now it actually opens it up so they can run from the asphalt to the playground area. So we don't track mud into the school and everything else. And, it was a lot of work, but we're getting there. We'll be done soon. I couldn't have done it without my whole crew, really, because they really stepped up this year and helped clean the schools and everything. So I'm grateful for that.
And everything that Frank's talking about, a lot of things are going to tie back in as we talk about our goals, with which one is sustainability, and we talk about the HVAC and the fact that we're able to track clean air coming in, air going out, and how we're able to do a lot more based on what we're bringing into the school and the different materials we're working with. So we'll be speaking about that further.
Question? With us going in the route of sustainability, at what point do we get to where we're eligible for some of the grants that are out there?
Well, at this point, we are eligible for some of the grants, which we will be applying for moving forward.
Okay.
We can apply to become a sustainable school, which we've gotten feedback from, and that we continue to work towards, and we have our sustainability team, which is made up of our administrative staff. We have many teachers who lead that in each of our buildings. So one of the first things we'll be talking about as we start the school year off, and we meet as a team, will be the sustainability grants that are available for the schools that are participating. So while we don't have that title yet, we are listed as a school working towards becoming a sustainable school, and that's all the different things that we've been looking into to bring to the district.
Any other questions?
We are going to begin the review of school goals and also 17, 18 school goals. So I'm going to pass out, try to go color code. And I'm going to have, I'm going to ask our administrative team to come to the table because they're involved in this process. This is for you.
And then for our board members, please feel free to help yourself to some codes while they're.
Thank you. Mr. Silva, I'm not gonna hold a personal project here. Dr. McCarron punished me.
I'm glad you're not holding on to that.
Maria, that was my seat for years.
I know, well, I like filling your seat for years. I'm just so weird, not a place over here. These parents like got it out for me or something.
Stop it.
Whatever, fine. Mr. Silva got my seat.
So you can see up on the smart board, there is the same information as you see on the green piece of paper, which is the school goals for 2016-17 school year. There's also district goals and board goals attached. Right now, we're going over the school goals. I'll give it a second if you want to review them, the school goals, and then the administrative teams are going to discuss some of the things they've done towards obtaining those goals. Yeah, just give it a second to read those.
Anything you want to change to this? Like, are you guys staying with the same stuff this year?
No, we do have some
Yeah,
updated.
Yeah, we have some updated ones that are blue, but I'll be giving them. That's yourself.
I have a question about, just a comment about goal number 4, which is to explore and communicate in ways the community on a regular basis. Do you think what you've been using in the past has been effective, and is this just one more step to continue what you've been doing?
There's always room for improvement, honestly. Some of the things we've done, I think, have worked out well. Blackboard Connect messages and emails. We're also going to be incorporating using in real time. And I think we've already gotten, parents, we've gotten some text alerts coming up with some events, I know, like sports, physical, tryouts, and things like that, which is the school as another way to communicate. Events going on, signs coming up, like the digital signs will also be able to do that. We try to push as much stuff we can on social media, or is it for other ways to communicate with parents? Any suggestions you have or anything like that, we're more happy to add that. Some of the board members have communicated to us, when I sent that email to you guys a couple weeks ago regarding enhancing communication as a school board throughout the community, so.
I said that. I would like that to continue to stay one of our goals. We can talk about that later.
So, I'm not gonna insult anybody's intelligence by reading every single thing, but obviously enhancing 21st century instructional practices through PD.
Yeah,
You guys want to highlight some of the things that she felt useful, since Ms. Burkholz is here, if she ever wants to chime in as a teaching staff member. She's been involved actively of our PD opportunities by not only being on the receiving end, but providing some of those PD opportunities to college.
I think for me, for last year, one of the most exciting things that happened that I feel ties to goal number one is that my teachers are just consistently stepping up as leaders. These are teachers that have ideas, they have like creative freedom to come in and try something new. If it works, they want to teach 3 other people how to do it. And it's like refreshing to be around people who are really interested in education and the profession. So that's like really just like uplifting to everyone, whether it's just like for morale and just like to enhance our professional practice. So I feel like you'll see a lot of the things that tie to Bingham and Downing lends itself to that. And then I feel as an administrative team, we offer them opportunities to do that. So traditionally we had like that one staff meeting a month, you know, for years and years and years, and we went to grade level meetings. And this year, 16-17, we switched it to a bi-weekly professional development opportunity where I would basically listen to my teachers, like, what do you need? What do we want to share? What is most important to us? And then I was able to provide them opportunities, whether it was throughout the school day or after school or before school or on a professional development day, so that nobody was wasting any of their time and we were actually like boosting our creativity and forming more of a team. So that was like really exciting because I had so many staff members step up and say, hey Jade, I have an idea, or you know, I went to an office, or I'm taking a class and this is what they're doing in another district. So it's just that for me was one of the most important things that I was able to see and be a part of.
And we did the same. We did the same thing over here, and I think just to compliment Jane's comment was instead. I mean, you have your PE day set up through the year, but like when something comes up that you knew that your staff is creating for professional development, it's like, well, we don't have PDA day for 3 months, and that's too long.
Right.
So now we have the opportunity to do quick hitters, hour-long PD to help them. Like right now, October, I got her to the SGA because it's one of those things that is important that it's done well and people need guidance on it, especially with new staff coming every year. You know, a lot of sometimes we'll recognize special ed needs, and then you know we'll pull them in, whether it's with aides or whether it's with special ed or everybody. So it gives you the ability to hit PD, you know, as it comes up through the year, not wait, and it's perfect timing because it's like they work hard, they're tired. So like an hour is just enough, you know, and it's not too much, but it gives us the opportunity to kind of, you know, hit it as it comes up throughout the year.
I just want to chime in. You also, you must be dental work picks, and you also had some issues today. You able to speak a little bit, Gladys? Or?
Yeah, I mean, for us, we did a lot of discrete trials for a lot of the kids on the spectrum. So we started that last September and it was ongoing, but this year with the full-time BCBA, we're gonna hit that really hard. That would be like once a month, and we're offering that to parents, and we're gonna be doing trainings at least one time a month for them. So that, I'm excited about that. In terms of the curriculum and instruction in professional development, we added Spire this year just to get kids who were getting stuck with the Wilson program who might not have been able to go to the next level. Spire is like a spin-off of Ortho Gillingham, so we added that. and that was a big deal. So Barb Epstein did a lot of ongoing training with the teachers. So our kids are benefiting from that. So I'm just really excited about new things. We added Learning Ally, which is reading the books on tapes for kids who have dyslexia, unique learning, which is differentiated instruction for kids on the autism spectrum. And so we're just excited, especially with the BCBA. A lot of training ongoing, hands-on every day.
As Les mentioned, one of the things we've done since 2013, when we first came in as an administrative team, was looking at professional development and really trying to take professional development to the next level. One thing that we do value is job embedded professional development, where we're actually going into the classroom and providing training in the classroom where teachers are implementing it. Gladys mentioned Barbara Epstein. She's our literacy consultant, who I think has been with the district since 2011, a former LDTC and literacy coach who's able to push into classrooms with teachers, model lessons, and then observe teachers modeling lessons and providing them with feedback and how to change. Stephen Benora, who's our tech integration specialist, doing the same thing as we've deployed one-to-ones. Now next year, going grades 3 through 8, we will be one-to-one devices with Chromebooks. Second grade is just about going to be a one-to-one. And now we're filtering down our iPads to our lower grades, which we discussed previously. Because in KM1, our younger students really do work better with the touch. Kathy Summerfield, who was just approved, I think, at the June meeting as behavioral specialist to push into classrooms, provide training, model how to work with students who might be having difficulties or how to implement different programs. So we've really invested in the district in job embedded professional development. And we've also, teachers know if they're going to a training and we're sending them to a training. You guys approve the trainings as far as the workshop amount, where they're going, monitoring, all of that. But they know that when they come back from that training, at grade level meetings and also at staff meetings, they're turnkeying it. They're bringing something back that they can share with their peers that they took away and that can be implemented in the classroom. So I think we've really tried to hit home with professional development and identify where needs are to make our PD opportunities relevant and meaningful for everyone involved.
I have a comment about goal number 2.
We're on goal 1.
Oh, we're going.
We didn't go to goal 2 yet. Anyone have any other questions about goal 1? Any comments?
Just one comment. I'm so happy to hear that teachers are giving you information about where they feel they need help and that they have input in the professional development, because I think that's the most effective way to do PD. That they need to have input, and you're doing that with them.
They've been timely also with like data that's being released, whether it's through Star Math, RTI, or any kind of PART data. So it kind of helps it to just to have that data in front of them, helps improve the instruction, helps provide rigor. So I think the PDs have been timely with data that's being released also.
Yeah, and like for me, they asked for professional development on working with kids who have like severe behavior difficulties. So like, so we're doing like a 6-hour training on that starting in September and also in October on the oppositional child, ADHD and ODD.
Because your teachers asked for that.
Yes.
Is that available to every teacher or just your teachers?
I actually bought the CD and the workbook so that it's on my computer, but we can put it up so I can do it with the parents, with the teacher, or whoever missed it. So instead of sending 2 people at $199, I just bought it for $199 and then bought 4 books that we can duplicate.
Goal number 2, obviously, we're always concerned about states. We'll get to your question in a second. We're always questioned about tardiness and attendance issues. And that the last couple of years, I know, especially at the elementary level, I asked Mrs. Yesu to keep a closer eye on that. The numbers have decreased as the amount of kids being tardy and absent. And sometimes just simple steps of communication with parents. Is there something we can do as a school district to help you get your child to school? Is there incentives that we can provide? And it really becomes habitual when a student in 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade is absent. It only gets worse when they move up into a teen or preteen level. So they've done a nice job with that. get the numbers.
I know that it's gone from like 7 to 9% to 2% now, so our chronic absenteeism has really decreased. I don't know that you get much lower than that in the real world, so I'm really proud of that. I mean, and we do it as a team. You know, the teachers are encouraging the parents whenever they can, the guidance counselor, the nurses. I even sent letters home this summer, like, I had a chance to reduce something, you know, just kind of like encouraging them to get.
I heard about that. I forgot about that.
But it just kind of was really just me saying, like, you know, I'm looking into the next school year and it's really important, you know, whatever. I fielded a couple phone calls back, but we are really at an all-time low.
And if I could just interrupt you real quick, looking at the data from 2013 all the way up to last year, we went from 14 students, 7%, 2013, 14. And now, right now, 2016, 17, it's only down to 2%, 4 students. So in that 4 years, we've gone from 14 students chronically absent down to 2%.
What's chronically absent?
Those are 10 days. At Downey, it was 8.6, it's all the way down to 2% as well. At Volst, it's gone from 12.4, 12.1%, 59 students, 2013, 14, it's gone down to 35 students or 7%.
Let me ask you a question about that chronically absent student. Like, does that, any absence, like, does that include, you guys don't really do like excused versus unexcused like we do at the high school level, correct?
Medical is, if there's a drop.
Well, medical
Yeah.
would be different,
Yeah.
but I'm saying like if they go on vacation for
No,
5
that's
days,
unexcused.
that's unexcused. Or like, or if they just had the, like, strep and they missed 2 days, like that's
Unexcused,
unexcused.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Cause like,
And it happens, you know, I mean, when you're sick, you should be home, you know, whatever, it's.
One thing that we did in the middle school too, was, and just, I don't know if you're familiar with it, we opened a student portal in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, it's like a parent portal, for students, pretty much the same thing, but they can't manipulate any data in there for obvious reasons. Students now will self-monitor not only their grades, but their attendance, because a lot of times they don't know. I mean, you know, middle school kids, they live in the now, you know, and they don't remember what last month was. So it gives them an opportunity to kind of self-reflect on all aspects of their school, and it's amazing how much you see them using it for all parts of the school.
Just from my perspective, professionally and personally, I think it's idiotic to have excused and unexcused. I think you're either in school or you're not in school. You're absent or you're present. And obviously you can take into account a serious illness, surgery or whatever. But I mean, I would not be opposed to us getting away from terminology of excused and unexcused. You're either in school or you're not.
they don't use it.
Oh, I thought you
We
said
don't
you
use
did.
it. We use it in the high school. We
Okay.
don't use it.
The only thing they excuse is
Good.
holiday and take a child to work.
But the thing
That
about it.
confused me.
Right, yeah, no, we don't use it.
Good.
Last year, were there any students in danger of not graduating from Bolts because of the tardiness policy?
I think the extreme, and feel free to jump in here, the extreme Phil would work with the truancy officer, with the Runnemede police, and it was dealt more with that way because at this age, it's a fine line between who's really at fault here, you know, as far as getting the kid to school. If you separate a child's academics from them actually being here, you know, I mean, we really base our promotion and retention on the academic performance, but usually one goes with the other. If they're not here,
Right.
they're not doing well.
Sure.
So it absolutely can affect their promotion.
But you said one, was that your answer to that question? There was one possible of not graduating?
Not this year,
Ah,
no,
okay.
not because of
Gotcha, I thought you said.
They've been identifying kids rather early.
Absolutely.
Getting it a little bit forward to your
Oh,
your judge friend, as we talked about earlier. Used to, so yeah, done a nice job.
He did.
And some of the other incentive things you have for the kids.
Mr. Son drives back up with his, delivers the pen.
He brings her everywhere.
I'm gonna have two. I'm gonna have two.
There you go.
Baby, and it's rock.
You know, one of them little, you know.
Yeah. No, the 4-year-old will be carrying the baby. What are you talking about?
So that's progress. Obviously, technology. So this would actually be incorrect because it would be fully Chromebook 1-to-1 grades 3 to 8. Right, Ms. Dr. McCarron? Not
This
4 to 8. It would
this
be
year.
3 to 8.
No, but
Oh, this is last year.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I was just trying to get.
I'm sure you will. I mean,
I will, all right.
about that. Don't
Percent
look-
was
look
around
at it.
3
One thing real
or
quick
preschool.
to point out with technology is the use of Google Classroom too. You know, if ties into the whole sustainable schools. I mean, these kids aren't turning paper anymore. Teachers are signing through Google Classroom, they're turning it into Google, and the teachers are giving feedback through no papers exchanged. So that's something that's continually being used across more and more teaching disciplines.
So are you using that down yet? Are you using that?
At third grade.
In third grade?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's kind of lends itself to goal 1 too, like, a few of the teachers that are using the Chromebooks regularly in third grade, now they're motivated to get Google certified because the devices are at their fingertips to use. Now it's like, as educators, it's like, okay, well now I need to know how to use this effectively. So it's all kind of like going together nicely. I had 2 of my teachers become level 2 certified Google educators a week ago. I know, I was scared. They called me, they're like, do you want to do it with us? I'm like, I can't know the lesson. But now I'm kind of motivated, you know, to do it. So it's all kind of tying together nicely.
And then speaking of professional development, last week we tried out our new information system as far as how we send out text messages and emails. We tried it with staff because we have the same opportunity now to send staff things. So we said, if anyone's not doing anything, Tuesday from 9 to 3, come join Benora and I for level 1 certification. And we actually had about 10 people come. They went through the opening training, and then we did the last 3 hours. How many were there, Marisa? You were one of them.
It was like 8
But
or 2.
it was like 8,
Yeah.
8 to 10 of us.
8 to 10 people who came
Everybody
in,
got that?
and everyone passed and became a level 1 certified
It's not easy
educator.
to-
You should have texted me that, I would have come to that,
It's
because
an-
I'm having heart palpitations about
Yeah,
Google
it's-
Classroom.
It's an
It's a lot.
intense training, so they,
It
you know,
is.
you pay $10 and they have the video cameras on you as you take it for the 3 hours. You have 3 hours before it shuts off, and then you either pass or fail.
Just Ranucci and I were like sweating, like I barely, like, you know, like, oh my god, I haven't been this stressed out. We were kind of in the same situation.
There's just so much to do.
It's a lot.
And that's the only reason why I feel overwhelmed. I feel like I'm gonna forget something and not do, you know, due diligence in my students, but that's awesome. Any other questions about technology? I think that we all know where we sit with that. Goal 4 is explore and make every effort to communicate with our school community on a regular basis. I know I'm just gonna speak, I know a lot of parents are still not fans of the whole announcements thing. I think that it died down a little bit towards the end of the year. But you just have to make, you know, it just has to be something that us parents have to do. It's like to look now where it used to be given to us, so it was like change for us. So a lot of people we don't like change, adults don't like change. So it's only gonna get better. I know that some of our administrative staff really enjoy using the social media, and people enjoy seeing that's the easy way for all of us parents to see, you know, like who got student of the month, and congratulations to the soccer team for winning, and it's just 2017, it's what people do.
Your district is very effective in how we don't get, at the high school level, we don't send anything out. And their means aren't only social media, but just the texting. And I mean, as soon as the Global Connect call from Blackbird's Pike, as soon as it ends, you're getting the text message, you're getting in a text form. I mean, it's just, I think, as much as you're saying social media, this device is
My only issue-
For next year, we are going to something.
Yeah, we
To a real-time student
We're
information
changing that
system.
up.
Okay.
We did it with announcements for real-time portal, class, homeroom, and also lunch balances. So parents got everything via text, and then they also got an email. The text said, check your email for important information. The email had everything that they needed for the start of the year. So I didn't really hear that many complaints, which makes me think that it was okay.
Well, I
I
just,
think that's what it is. They need something to tell them to go check the website.
but
Correct.
Mrs. Josie sent that
Right.
out. She sent a
That's
text
all it
message at the beginning. She sent an email out at the beginning of every single month. Like that, an email went out from the from my principal that said, look under the announcements. And then I said, hey, Mr. Iannucci, maybe we should list what's on the announcements. And then in mid-year, that started happening. It's just that you have to do it.
It was a first step of many.
Yeah, it
we
just
could
was-
do.
The only
it'll
thing
get
is
better.
like with real time, when you make phone calls, do I have to listen to that robot? Like why, I'd rather
Well,
listen to you, believe it or not.
here's what I'll tell you that I do like about the real-time notification system, is that when I go in to do a notification or send an email, it gives me 6 options. So it gives me an option to text, and I can do all 6, or I can just do 1. So I can write my text message. Hey everyone, make sure you check your email for important information from the Runnemede School District. Then I write my email, I attach my attachments, I can personalize it to each individual student with whatever's needed, and then I push send, the text goes out, the email goes out, I could do a text-to-speech message, so it's all built in one, and a lot of times everything that we're looking to do, like I was excited that I put account, like we had, Ruby goes, we had 20 parents log on and pay account balances today, and I'm like, fantastic, so all that information goes out, where parents were calling going, I don't know $5, and we're like, no, you have $5 on your account from last year. So for me, it's nice because we can pull a lot of data, such as our real-time username parent portal information, and send it out automatically, individualized to every student, without having to do that. One thing we will be doing this year is park scores. Instead of doing the mailing and extra letters, I'll be sending an email out to every parent in grades 4 through 8, saying, park scores will, and you'll get a text, park scores are coming home with your students today. You'll get the email, that is the email from me explaining what to do with park scores, and then that way you'll know to ask your child when they get home, where's your park scores, I know they were coming home, and everything will go out that way. So we're saving on postage, and we're also saving on extra copies because we are reducing my letter that would normally go home with the scores. So.
I have another question. A lot of times there's always going to be glitches and things with the website, but sometimes it's totally outdated. And like some things need to be revamped. Like, let's put a picture of Mr. Iannucci right here. Like, and then if I go on schools, right, I'm a new parent, I don't know who you are, I go on schools, right, I go to Volts, right, and over the side I see Steve Peely, Phil Silva, Mrs. Annette Marker. Like, can't we put a little picture of you guys there so we know who you are? No, we're not scared of anything, it's just like, what I do is, you might think that this is strange, but I look at other elementary school websites purposely to say like, oh well, oh no, oh I do, oh yes I do know, like a face, Tony. Like I just feel like there's
More personal,
in like a goal for this year.
Engage.
Like I didn't check and see if you're there, but I know that you wouldn't mind. No, not like saying it, but I know you didn't want yours there. And I'm not saying, you told me before you didn't want your picture up.
That's somebody else.
No, and then like some districts get real crazy and put like, well, we don't, that's not like our thing, we're not like, but I feel like a face to a name, right? They probably call Mrs. Marker and annoy her 76 times in a year, but they're a working parent and they don't know who, well then, you know, like just little things, you know, like that to update it, I think needs to be done.
So, in my department, we're, Mr. Bernard and I are right now working on our website to update it. So we looked at Audubon's and Haddonfield.
Okay.
I see that.
We went down the pipe, and
Yeah.
then I just don't. From that, I asked my team
Sure.
if they wanted their pictures. They do not. I said I was getting it from the yearbook, so.
No, you're gonna get this there.
You're putting it out anyway.
And I understand, but like when now that we communicate with each other, now when I'm sending an email from my Gmail to Mr. Peely this year as a parent, like my picture comes up.
Right.
Or my Bitmoji comes up, like Mrs. Jessie, but something, it's just the way of the world.
That is one of the ones, website enhancements.
But-
Next year, so we can, that's part of the goals
That's
next
next one.
So we can.
Well, that was my start.
Part of evidence, I'll see your picture.
I'll see your picture.
Yeah, that's you know. Anything else on technology?
We
Reviewing the school goals.
So in our department, we use technology really for kids to communicate. So like our guys on the spectrum use, instead of that old school, some still use it, the visual schedule.
Yes.
Now their visual schedule is on the iPads that we found. And each one of them has their own, so they get to carry it around. And they're creating independence by moving it on their own and kind of holding it. Even the preschoolers are doing it. And even what they're working for, what are you working for? They can pick it right on the iPad and then move it along when they're done. The timer is on the iPad. So all these little gadgets that we had to carry around can now be all on this iPad. And so we're, you know, in the new trend, including packs.
I did have one more thing to say about Goal 4, excuse me. Don't ever think that something is not important. We encourage and want to see our students. And they can come, and there can be 3 of them, or it can be 300 of them.
Yeah.
They can come, we'd like to celebrate them, congratulate them, make them feel important. And then we always will make sure, like I just gave the nod to Mr. Talfaro, like you don't have to stick around for this, right? Like they don't have, we'll always make sure they're first and foremost. So even something so minute that you might not think is important, don't think that you're wasting our time, because that's really why we're all here.
Absolutely.
So, like, the more the merrier.
As well as staff, not just the
Sure,
students.
yeah.
For instance, earlier this evening, Frank talked about all the things he's done to improve the facilities. And I'm going to the workshops down in that city at the convention, they talk about the environment, how it helps the learning environment when the environment's clean and bright and cheerful. I'd like to see us do something to thank him and his entire staff for the great job they've done. Maybe our September, October board meeting.
Mr. Peterly is organizing a luncheon tomorrow or Thursday with the maintenance staff, so thank you.
I want them to know that
We
the
appreciate
board also
it.
appreciates
Absolutely.
their efforts.
And our 5th
1 o'clock
block,
tomorrow, I'll have a piece of pizza.
here about.
Where?
1 o'clock, here tomorrow.
Not Kitchen 519?
Yeah, we have.
They deserve more than
And then just last one for school goals developed, always looking to support character education programs, always looking for new ideas. As much as I love the bucket fillers and high five group and everything else, they're always looking for ways to add on to that, but I still think it's good to have a core system in place of recognizing those kids. And if you ever do a bucket filler assembly, those kids are pretty excited, just like they're excited for the character that race the clock, as well as when they compete against their teachers in different events. They also have a good time with that, so I'll let you guys.
Well, something new, because I know I'm always preaching my bucket filler philosophy, but I'll switch gears for a minute. We are now like the Hawks at all 3 schools. So the Hawk will be visiting the schools throughout the school year, which I think will be a big hit for the kids. It'll be something new. He will make a special appearance on the first day of school at Bingham, and then on Friday he'll be at Downing. So I feel like that's just like another way to just kind of like, you know, show our school spirit and just, you know,
We love Bucky.
keep a
We
positive.
love Bucky.
Yeah, we love Bucky. I kind of had like the urge to try on the costume, but I refrained. But anyway, so yeah, so I think that would be something new, but it is going strong and it is a great, you know, philosophy. So we're just finding ways to like tweak it and make it new and fun. So last year I think was another great year. We increased the amount of assemblies we had, and we're always recognizing students and staff throughout the year. So it was, I thought it was a nice, I thought the teachers did a great job with that.
One of the biggest strengths with our program is, I would say, is probably how it's infused in the curriculum. Because every Friday we have lessons that are monthly themed. Even through our community service activities, students had project-based activities that they had to do to participate in those community-based events. Whether it was the food drive, they had to do something in technology for it. Whether it's you know, when we treated the police department or the fire department to breakfast, they had to do something in the classroom for it also. So just how we infuse the character ed program into our curriculum, I think is probably one of our strengths.
Is this where also you communicate the anti-bullying and are more, have more of a presence with the kids about the fallout for bullying? Is that incorporated in that character education?
There's a piece in that too, but also our guidance counselor does some of that. But as far as the monthly lessons, some of them deal with anti-bullying, but for the most part, I would think that our guidance counselor in her lessons, she deals with that more.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Not on the school goals.
We'll have some conversation here. District goals, if you're not going to read any of them in a second. created these goals, we try to link all the goals, school, district, and board, so they have similar things in there. So you might see some repeated things in there, terminology.
Any questions on the district goals?
Number 3, just a review of all school safety protocols. I know last year during the school year at these board meetings, on at least 2 occasions, we discussed assessing visitors coming in and out of all 3 schools, and whether there was another step we could take to ensure that the people that are coming into our buildings are there for good reasons.
We have met.
Did you come up with any,
with
the architect?
We couldn't have anything done this summer,
Right.
places, especially in Downey, and here at Bolton, some of the other projects we have going on. We were looking for them to work on an entranceway. It's been very difficult as elementary schools because of the setup, because they're in the lower level. Bolts might be a little bit easier to do that. Also looking for, I mean, discuss the machines that they use in some other places where they have to scan the license to get feedback.
Triton West. Yeah.
See, we are still looking into it.
So the architects to this point haven't made any suggestions?
Well, they have, but it's something we couldn't do
Sure.
This year.
this summer.
Could we see if we can come up with some definitive ideas by November or December so that we can build it into the budget for?
Oh, we could do it earlier than that, yeah,
Okay.
we actually coming out in September.
Because I still believe that I'd like to see it go a step further as far as making sure that people are coming to visit there for a good reason, a more secure way of checking who they are.
I have a question. What do they do now as far as people coming to each school?
They have to be buzzed in by a secretary at the front office. They have to buzz their own camera, they have to state the reason they're here, and they report directly to the main office.
So
We have to
they're
sign
buzzed
in,
from the
sign
main-
out.
There's no greeter or anything in the buildings.
There's no reason.
It's just from the main office, just they ask who they are and they buzz them in.
Yes.
But that is what they do at Triton.
There is a
I've
greeter.
been over there.
Okay.
You come into the main entrance, before you even get in the building, you have to show your driver's license
At the outside.
to verify that you are that person and state your reason why you're coming to the school.
That's a concern I always had when we had a Clearview. They had a greeter at both buildings. They would buzz you in and then ask who you were. Now you're already in the building.
Exactly.
And then they would tell them, you know, going to go to the main office. But they would have them sign in. If they signed in, they better check ID. So I said, at least take their license, because they'll give them a sticker to put on their shirt.
Right, the physical.
And then they'll leave with that, and then they can come back anytime, any door with that sticker on it, and somebody let them in. So now we actually built booths there where it's secure, because you go into a vestibule area, then they check you, then they let you into the building.
That's what we
It wasn't that
were,
expensive to do.
that's what we were looking at, but if you, I don't know if have you ever been in Downing or Bingham?
No, I don't want to.
So when you go in, it's like a stairwell up or down. So like you might, like if we want to go to a walkthrough.
Frank.
This is Mark Fern, you all
I
right?
want to move just to be safe.
No water.
That would be something that we could explain this to show you where it is, because in the past we have had, like we were looking at like ADA access and things like that, we were thinking about adding something there, but it just wasn't monetarily feasible. But I think that it would be a very good idea to have like a walkthrough, even if like 3 of us did it at one time, it's 3 of us and then 3 of us. Some people can go during the day, just schedule an appointment with Mr. Iannucci, like that's a right of ours to do, you know, as long as we have an appointment and you can take it around. For you to actually visualize it and see like where the struggles would be, to be like, how the heck could we do that and do it right and do it
It's almost as though
physically?
they would need a greeter and a machine where you can run
Greeter
those.
system.
Because I mean, it's, in terms of actually building a spot in those schools, it's very.
But I will tell you this,
You
the
have to come out.
children do a
I said
wonderful
that
job,
before.
because like I go like this sometimes, I forget, and I put my mom hat on, I'm like, and they like just look at me and just keep walking by. So so at least they do a good job, and then, you know what I mean, because then they're like, Samantha, I'm not allowed to open that door for you, like, you should know that. Like, and I'm like, you're right, I should, but I'm in a rush, and I'm trying to get in, and I'm like, they know, they'll walk right by me, like they have no idea who I am. So that I applaud the, you know, the teachers and the administrators for, because they are secure in that area. But it is definitely something we need to look into for sure.
Is there a safety committee in the district? Thank you.
Thank you. If you ever want to come for a tour.
Yeah, you should, because it, like Chad said, coming out.
And that's not just for dentists, that's for anyone.
If you're not familiar with that setup.
It's really unuser friendly, but the mayor suggested right before I came here, to start looking at the houses. He said, you're just talking about my dentists from their house, but what do you think about expansion? So if we get new buildings, we don't have it.
He just wants to talk.
He wants to buy everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Moving along.
Rest.
Build big.
Stay focused.
Any other questions on district goals?
No?
All right, board goals, you know, minute obviously, that's created these last August.
Any questions or comments on the board goals? So Dennis, this is what we created last year as a team for the upcoming school year. And again, like the school year that just passed, we try and go along with what our admin team. So they're the three that we came up with, and that's what I had asked Mr. Iannucci about a week and a half ago to email out to us to see if we had any ideas for goals, just so we knew where we stood. And it didn't take 7 hours. So they were the three that we came up with last year. Planning and zoning, I was going to RY, but they don't have them anymore. Yeah. They don't. So we're just talking about like what we do, like Chaz goes to planning and zoning, they choose the council, we go to RY, Angel and I will go to RYA meetings when they're, Camden County.
And Chad goes to every meeting where we meet them too,
Because we love him.
And we love that he's
Yeah.
thorough.
Because I'm retired, but Dennis, aren't you retired?
You
Yes.
guys.
All right, at the January reorganizational meeting, we'll find a job for you.
There you go.
Coffee lunch. Yeah.
Any questions or concerns there?
Yes. Under number 3, we probably need to show and reword goal 3, because we are now a sustainable school, so maybe we just need to word that differently, I'm not sure.
Well, this is last year's.
Oh, I know. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, for
for
2018,
yeah, yeah.
17-8 meeting,
Marvel
when
pass
we
out.
do it. And something that came up in a wonderful book you gave me to read, like on the last few pages, and that is lead line fire. And one of the things it emphasizes in there, and I think it's a really good point, is that teachers have one heck of a job to do every day. And we have some teachers that volunteer to serve on the sustainability committee and other committees that they probably serve on. Yet they still have all the other responsibilities. And one of the things I talked about in that book was trying to make sure that they don't get so involved in so many things that they get stressed out. So, I think one of the things that we should consider, and maybe it's already being done, is ways in which, if one of these committees are meeting, that we know what day they're meeting, that we have a couple of subs that come in, and they can cover their class for an hour and a half, so that they know that their kids are still in learning activities, yet they can do that without feeling the pressure of, I'm falling behind in the
We
classroom.
did that this year, I think we 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, we've done that.
The group you met with.
Okay.
Sustainability.
Yeah.
They all met in our conference room, and we did provide some.
Yes, I remember, I was in there.
The entire day or several days.
But it's a great group of young teachers,
Yeah.
but
So
you
they don't
know,
do anything.
you don't want to burn them out.
They weren't doing any after hours or anything for that, they were doing it during the school day.
Okay. All right.
And I will say that most of the teachers that are on these committees and attend these things are genuinely interested in the good of the cause. And, you know, so it's not as if we're like, sign up here, you know, whatever. Like they are, I mean, most of my teachers will come to me and say, I'm interested in being part of it if I can. Or can I do this, or can I start this, whatever. So it really is, and then we give them the coverage or the extra support like you're mentioning. But a lot of it is they're just self-motivated.
Yeah.
And what's funny about that group though is like, the people who are on the committee will also be like, can I run to my classroom at 11 o'clock?
Yes.
I just want to start the lesson off and then I'll do that.
Okay.
And it's like, absolutely, no problem. Here,
Yeah, like
you run out at 11 o'clock.
All right, then just one other comment, then under, you know, when it comes to sustainability, and that is, we're supposed to, under action steps, formulate some benchmarks. As a board member, I would like to see in the fall, September would be the ideal time, what benchmarks we've established for the sustainability for the year. And then in May, let's look at those benchmarks. Did we achieve them? I know we make advancements, but I'm unable to sit back as a member of the board and know exactly what we accomplished because I'm not quite sure what the benchmarks were for that year. So I'd like to see that committee or even others, that what is your benchmark for the year? What is it you're trying to get to at that point? And at the end of the year, let's take a look at that. And you got there, fantastic. If not, what could we have done to help you achieve those goals? What did we not do as a board or as an administrative team? So I would like to know what the benchmarks are of the goals that we have for all of these areas. What is the benchmark for May and June? And then let's take a look at it and then let's see how well we did.
Chaz, as
Thank
Mark
you.
passes that out, just so you're aware, with the sustainability initiative, this year's goals and action steps, we're establishing and getting things in order, starting to make those moves. One of the benefits, I think, as applying to be a sustainable school, is that regardless if you get it or not, you're getting feedback from, what's interesting is it's all these people from different universities throughout the state of New Jersey who then evaluate you on certain sections and provide feedback on what you should do differently. So moving forward with the committee, one of the things we're doing, and Maurice is actually spearheading this as a part of her internship as well, is looking at the curriculum and identifying areas within curriculum, all content areas, all grade levels, as far as where sustainability lessons can be incorporated.
Sure.
And kind of making a crosswalk between those lesson ideas and the curriculum that's being implemented in the classroom. That was one of the main areas of feedback that we received. Everything else, that feedback that we received, was a lot of, you guys are going in the right direction. So for example, changing over HVAC, working with ACES, which is renewable energy. So as a district, we pay a little bit more because we're using renewable energy through the energy companies, through New Jersey school boards, and who they've bid it out.
Right.
But those are all the things that once it's in place and once it's been fully implemented and executed, that will then receive points in those areas.
Yeah, because for those people that are in the audience, sustainability is not just about saving electricity, not leaving the lights on and losing less paper. It's also about incorporating it into the curriculum so it becomes a way of life. You know, one of the things, the suggestions that I sent to, I'm pretty sure I sent it to Sam as well. This summer, in my driving around, I noticed that West Effort High School, over their teacher's parking lot, kind of like what they did down the White Horse Pike at Lucian's, they put a roof over the parking lot, and on top of that roof, solar panels. Instead of putting solar panels on a roof, put in there, and that's one of the suggestions that I made this summer, that would be falling under sustainability, is maybe we should think about putting a roof over this parking lot here at Bolt School, obviously high enough so that delivery trucks can get under it, our buses, and on top of the roof, put solar panels to produce electricity of our own instead of buying it and selling the extra electricity back to the company. And there are grants to help offset the cost of doing that. So it sounds like a far-out idea, but schools are doing it now. And it would be you have no plowing to do in the parking lot, and when it's raining, the staff will be drying completely on the roof. You extend the roof just a tiny bit from there to the front door, and people aren't slipping and sliding on ice. They're not getting rained on. The snow doesn't have to be shoveled there, and we're producing electricity for the building. So West Effort has been doing it. They may be done the project by now. I'm not sure. I've been there past it a couple weeks. Lucian's down the West Pike did it. So yeah, but that's one way. What I don't like about putting solar panels on a roof is before they'll do that, you have to throw a new roof on. And secondly, when that roof has a leak, they got to remove the solar panels to get to the roof. It's insane. So
we've already reached out to our architect, and he will be coming out to discuss that and different options with us.
Okay, thank you.
The rest rec is very low now too. I think it's under $100, right around $100. It used to be up close to between $400 and $600 for your energy credit. Now it's it just keeps seeming to be dropping.
But under sustainability, you can get grants that'll pay for a significant amount of the cost of putting in a solar system. It wouldn't pay to put a roof over the parking lot, but it would pay for the solar panels and the installation.
All right, so we're moving along to upcoming school year goals. So there's 4 goals for the schools.
Give me a second to look over that if you'd like, and then I can keep going.
I have a mother earth. It's like a little costume that someone could wear. And like they would go in and be like, literally like the one science teacher would come in and be like, don't forget to like my everybody kids to shut down the computers because Mother Earth is watching it. And they got like these stickies with an earth on it. And randomly would like have the jump like put one in, and they'd like, oh my god, they'd like come in at night, and I'd like, yes, you have to shut it down at night. But it was making us accountable, and even though it's corny, my high schoolers liked it, so I think
Absolutely.
the kids.
Like, I can borrow.
Yes, whatever you want.
I wrote it down.
I was just
Marisa just volunteered.
No, we have a volunteer for everyone who wants to dress up. We have him already. So it's Father.
That's my life. So they broke down the 4 goals for schools as curriculum instruction, sustainability, character, and communication. And you can see some of the action steps that will be applied.
I really like under goal number 3 that you want to recognize staff, because I feel like something that we're missing in this district personally is an Educator of the Year award. It's not hard to implement, and we could make a committee and people just would nominate their people who they believe are worthy.
Yep.
And we call it Educator of the Year because it could be maybe a counselor or a nurse, or and it's just like, and then we could have like a district-wide faculty meeting where you just like invite their family, and you have like it's just so simple to do, and I think that it makes educators feel more appreciated. So I would donate my time and my energies to
to maybe meet with you guys to start it and get community people to like, if we pick a date and then we wanna do it and get it like catered and things, because I feel like it would be important and not to, you know, like, I just think that that's something that,
Because that is something to work for.
well, it's
to work
just,
for.
well, I don't ever go to work because I wanna get nominated for Teacher of the Year or Educator of the Year, but I mean, it's just when I see like the random math teacher who nominated me last year and they put it in my mailbox was like so overwhelming to me. And then you give a little gift to every single person who was nominated. I just feel we could tweak it and you guys would be the boss, but I'd be willing to like be like someone who I would like to incorporate that. And I'd like to do it this year if possible, because I think it's something that we've been missing. Years ago, they had it. Years ago, they had it. And then we went away from it for some, I'm talking like when I was here, like 20 years ago they had it. And I don't know why it ever went away, but it's not hard to do and it's so appreciated from staff members. So I'd like to incorporate that this year. I would spearhead it and do everything to do all of that. I don't want to make any more work for any of you.
I would work with you on that. So
Thank
it's
you.
really important.
I just think that it's really important.
It is.
So I would like to incorporate, and that goes with the character ed. You guys want to recognize staff more. I just think that we need an Educator of the Year program, and we can make a little committee too. So because you'd be surprised how many people and will donate oh, you know, here's a $25 gift card for the Educator of the Year, and then it's just something that I'm already part of. It would be nothing for me to do. So I'll reach out to maybe the 4 of us can sit down, or the 5 or 6 of us can sit down and maybe think about what you guys want to do.
I like that idea. We do it on a small scale.
I want it like district-wide.
I agree, but I don't know if you would like to use some of those names as nomination for the big prize, because we do it twice a month, where they receive like a sworn copy award, where they nominate each other for it, but it's just not on a large scale as you described. But I do like that idea.
I think you should keep that. I think we should do something else in addition. Keep doing what you're doing. Let's give them something else in addition. And then maybe like the May faculty meeting could be like the district, where we're all together celebrating the person who won, and then maybe we can give
Can I ask you, did you also say we not only recognize a Teacher of the Year, but a professional?
We don't call
secretarial staff?
We call it educator. We call it Educator of the Year, like where I go.
Year.
But it does not have to be a teacher. It could be a guidance counselor. It could be a nurse. It could be, you know what I mean? It could be anyone could be anyone could be nominated. We wouldn't discriminate. We wouldn't.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
But
we
I
could.
see
But I
what
mean,
you're
your
saying,
office staff
like,
too?
I think you get confused, like if you call it staff of the year, then it could be any staff.
We could call it staff member of the year.
Staff member of the year, because educator, like, you know, someone would just think that's a teacher, and then you
Yeah.
don't feel like.
Well, that's something we don't have to talk about now, but something we
Okay.
could talk about in the committee. But I just think that I think that we could make it, it's so easy to make, and it's like one of the things that a lot of different teachers and educators and staff members and everyone in other districts look forward to. Like, you best believe I know when my May faculty meeting is, and it's in my calendar already, because nobody misses that one, because we eat and we celebrate and we are all together.
One of the districts I worked in, and it's still there, has a large plaque on the
Everyone's-
wall of the main
yeah.
office.
Yes.
And it has a plate engraved with who wants that person of the year every year.
Yes.
And I couldn't serve on a committee because my president's got me on so many committees already. But I would be willing to make a significant financial donation to help offset the cost of the plaques.
Great idea.
I mean, I know we'll get it done. So.
But I think the criteria has to be early so they can start working, like, let's say October. If you know what the criteria is to be staff of the year.
There is no criteria.
There isn't?
You nominate me because you're gonna write down why you think. And then we sit down as the committee, and the committee reads every single one and picks who we think wins.
So like, for example, if someone thinks that staff of the year is someone who goes beyond, who goes, you know, stays and tutors kids after school. So maybe that staff that's not that motivated they'll look at that and maybe set their bar.
That's what I said, it does give, I don't.
I think
it
you
will
want
give
that,
people
and so you're
something
gonna
to
work
for.
harder.
Indirectly, yes.
If you
exactly.
don't know what you're
Because if
like
they know,
achieving,
I'm telling
you might
Some
not.
people are gonna step up their
Well,
game.
maybe we
I
just
think
need to
they'll
let
step
them
up
know
their
that we're
game.
having this, like, you should try
Exactly,
to get
that's what I'm
this.
saying, if you put this out there, people are gonna step their game up. Around
Especially,
here,
like,
absolutely, it's competitive work.
Competitive person who is not that
Absolutely.
motivated.
Look at McCarron over there, conjuring up what he's gonna do, make sure that he gets stuff. Look at
He
him.
was trying to get
I
it.
see him working over there.
Go on over there.
Well, it's a cardboard
Yeah.
section right there.
That's not like I see, like, for the past 5 years, how hard, like, our elementary teachers work, and I can't even imagine doing what they do, because, like, I don't have that in me, like, that's not my thing. I like teenagers. I don't really, I don't prefer smaller children, so, like, there's so many wonderful things happening. I just feel like we need a little celebration to like have a title. Like so we can talk about it later in a committee, but I just feel like I'd like to do that this year. Did you look under sustainability, the Go Green? Is that all good?
You wanted to add benchmarks, right, Mr. Buckeye?
Yeah, I think that's the only thing I want to add there is, I want to know what the benchmarks are early in the year, and then to review them at the end of the school year, May or June. Otherwise, we have no idea what we've accomplished. We're not as clear a picture.
No, Chaz, in terms of action steps, just so you know, we've listed our main 3 areas, and then also we've been using the application, because we can see where we are. The application is huge. And with every submission of the application, it comes back with approvals, revisions, where you are moving forward. So like our 3 main things are like increasing paperless initiative. So when we did our last submission, we didn't have our final count to submit as a part of that. However, now we can show like financial information showing the fact that we did end up saving paper and not using as much paper last year as the year before. So that's a piece that when we submit, I think it's an end of October submission, we'll get approved for that. Or even for curriculum, that's already been in the works, but they won't approve it until all pieces of the curriculum have that crosswalk.
I just want a little more specific. This is a very general term, I want something more specific, focusing in on what on the curriculum. In grades, this is what we're doing.
This is super,
Yeah.
this is super vague, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I want now, let's hone it in and tell me specifically. And, you know, I'm gonna keep pushing this. I think that because there's money out there, I hope that in the near future, we are gonna do solar panels. Because wouldn't it be nice if we didn't have to pay the electricity bills in both school? What we could do with that money? Professional development, whatever. Furniture, you name it.
Generate more electricity than you use, and you get paid back.
That's right.
You saw that.
Steve, we got a presentation, it's one of our presentations, Chaz. You know what I mean, that we have, any team want to come back and present what they've done.
Yeah,
So it's like-
perfect. Yeah.
Speaking of presentations, we have to do something to make sure that, to communicate with our community, all of the awesome ones that you had available for, I guess maybe you were trying to hit like your special ed peeps, and I get it, but like there's so many things that you talk about in the meetings that could really, I mean, I feel like we didn't communicate with our whole school community the awesome things that were happening, and the anxiety workshop, the ADHD workshop, the things that happen, like they are real struggles that parents are going through. And it's funny because I came to the one with a friend. I didn't come for my own kid. And then like other parents like were like, are you, like they actually felt comfortable like building a friendship, like communicating with me because they thought I was there having the same parental struggles as them. So it was actually like a really significant and important and just all around awesome event. And I just would like, you know, to like blast them a little bit more, if you're having any.
Yeah, so this year, so I already pre-planned. What I did was I didn't want to specialize it to any one
Okay.
particular group. So I just said parent training and dropped everything else. And so then Mr. I just said, you know, let them know ahead of time.
Sure.
So they can all get approved and maybe they'll make it onto the website.
They will make it onto the website.
On all the general ones, like Bolt. So that was on me. I should have put it on Bolt
Well,
and
no,
Bingham and everywhere.
But I don't know that you thought that it would be, that so many people
I
would
did.
want to come.
Initially, I was
I didn't have a
wondering.
seat. I had to like make my own seat for myself because it's struggles that parents that are going through every day and felt like, they felt like they were comforted by the fact that so many other parents were going through the same thing. So something, what you did, it would help our community. We need to have some more of them if possible. Does anybody have any other questions now under school goals?
I have a quick question. So every single year, we go over school scores, test scores, everything else, and say how we did, we went up, we went down, 16, whatever. Is there a way to be more specific on what the actual goal is with regards to our testing scores, maybe, from year to year? Like, let's say this year is 4th grade, let's say in general, I don't know, 50% of the kids are proficient. Okay, let's say same kids next year, then you don't want to say this grade should go up because you want to follow the kid, the class itself must go up, or we're going to try to go up, let's say 2 percentage points in each area. So is there a way to be more specific in reference to actual student achievement goals instead of just being so vague? It's really hard to see where you're at when you're not using something that's a straight up number. So to speak.
You want something more measurable, right?
Right, because I mean, of course, and that's gonna help drive everything else that goes below. You know what I'm saying? So if you know that your reading scores are down, then you know that that is where you need to focus your attention to. But it's hard to do when there isn't really a goal to reach, it's just, it's always to enhance. Well, it's always gonna be to enhance. The whole purpose is to get better, but what's the measure of better? And the only way we can really do that, in my opinion, is when it comes to testing. That's the only thing that's really numerical in nature.
And it doesn't have to be specifically just part testing, it could be, you know, your other
Any of your
star
measures
data,
that you're
that you
use.
use, all the other things that you do.
Absolutely.
And just so you know, with our response to intervention model, which is how we identify kids that may not be progressing at a rate that we're comfortable with, we look at every single student, see where they're at beginning of the year. All the teachers already have that data, like with their class list. It's like Joe Smith is on a level B. So like going into school, they know where every student is, and we do track every single kid, just so you know, like behind the scenes that is being that is being done. And then if there is someone who we feel is not progressing at a rate that, you know, the research says that, you know, supports and that we're not comfortable with, then we do seek, you know, school level interventions. And if they're not responding to those school level interventions, then we take, you know, it's a possible referral to the INRS team, you know. So just so you know that that is happening all behind the scenes on a regular basis.
I know that that does go on behind the scenes, but sometimes it does help as management level to have a goal in place that you know where you're trying to reach. In the back of your head, I know everyone knows that they're trying to get better, but what is better, right? So better to me, my idea of better is tend to be a little bit of an overachiever. So my idea is like 5%, you know, whereas somebody else's might be 1%. So I think it's important to somehow incorporate some type of numerical data. We've talked about this, honestly, pretty much every single year that I've been here.
And I can figure out a way to somehow quantify what we're doing so that I can maybe share that with you.
We do see every year when Sean brings up the scores where we were and then where we end up, and that's always when it's a big surprise. And that's kind of my point. It's always like, well, hold on. Why did this drop down like this? What happened? You know? But, and again, I know everyone's looking at it, but at the same time, not to say that a goal isn't met if you don't reach a number, but it's always good to know where you're headed. Instead of just, I'm just trying to improve.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And I know from a teacher standpoint, it can be frustrating if you have, let's say, 25 students and 20 of them exceeded expectations and 5 didn't. That can kind of throw off all of your percentages. So it's like, oh my gosh, it actually looks like, you know, as a whole. So I get where you're coming from. It's complicated.
It is complicated, but stats are important sometimes too.
So maybe it's kind of like what we do is 3 quarters of progress reporting. So in the first, you know, if you're trying to get to 20, we're only gonna get 5, then we're gonna go to 15, and then we might hit 20. So maybe the first year, we're only gonna shoot for 2% increase in the score. And then we'll go to 5, and I don't know if we can get a 10, but.
Right, and of course.
And then the next year, and the next year.
I get that stats are hard to do. I do stats all day long with my job as well. I get that. And I also understand there are different variables that can be thrown into the mix. For example, my curriculum has to be changed because state said so. You know, but I know that's going to throw like your red chip. But at the same time, it's always good to have something that we can.
So what would you like to see?
Measurable, you want measurable goals.
Something with a percentage point, something with a point, yeah. So, I mean, I don't know exactly what the correct number would be, because I'm not an educator, you're the first one to say that. I don't know what would be appropriate from year to year, but I just think it would be good to have this word out there.
Just want something tangible.
Right.
Maybe it could be worded in a way that you're not stating a specific percentage, but we want to see advancement in the results of, you know, from the 3rd graders being tested again in the 4th grade or whatever.
And I have so much data on my students, I could maybe share more of that, you know, without obviously using student, you know, so that you're receiving more of that, because we do have it to share, so.
There's always things that you're always going to have, maybe more kids come in this year, brand new kids into the district.
Right.
That might not,
Yeah.
you don't have any data on them, okay? Now, I personally wouldn't have an issue with removing that from your data as long as we know it. I removed these children because they're new to the district and I didn't have a baseline.
Right.
Well, then you can include them in your.
Sure.
Showing whether or not you had growth.
Yeah, so it's not like something that, yes, you must go up 2 points or else kind of thing. It's just something to put out there.
I said they're the kids that move in that aren't in my baseline every year that hit. That if I could use them, it would have
That's happened to me as well.
Or maybe you could just target a certain group. Like if the
Well, I don't think
6th
we
grader-
want to target a certain group. Like, we want to see, as a Board of Education, what ELA, what math, like, we want to see, and because we want to see it, we want to see where it is, why, because we were shocked the past few years, and not in a good way. So, like, where's the accountability at? Like, if we had tangible goals, we could be like, well, okay, so where we are, although the state doesn't look great here, we did hit our little goal that we had here. You know what I mean? And of course, we would be separate. You know what I mean? How we break it down for like regular ed and special ed. But like it's just sometimes not like this list to us is like we appreciate this list, but it doesn't say like how or when it's going to happen. Which is why we're giving our children benchmarks. Well, we need benchmarks too.
Yeah. That's kind of what it comes down to. And to piggyback on that, I wouldn't want us to target a specific group because I don't want to see progression in just the kids who are struggling. I want to see progression against your top kids too. You know, so I want the kids who are in the very, very top percentiles of what you're doing. I want to see those kids still get as high as they can get, not just stay. I don't want anyone to stay average. I want everyone to progress. And you might fall back sometimes if something happens in your life. But I want
It's
to
not a
see
perfect world.
progression,
Set the
not
bar high.
perfection.
Yeah.
You know, always keep moving forward. Never just stay back.
I agree.
Just a thought.
Now explain what you did on their board and district goals.
One of the things we noticed when we were reviewing the evidence of the board and district goals on the school goals, dating back some other I'll say bar of glass, I won't steal from other districts. They combine their board and their district goals because all the similarities they share. So we did that tonight to show some of the things that we'd like to do. I'll jot down.
Let's go ahead the first thing. I'm sorry to cut you off, like the first thing in curriculum is exactly what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
You know,
Nice.
having benchmarks, you know, like that's, you know what I mean, that's exactly what you're just saying.
That's okay. I'm not. And then we also broke it down into the 4 committees that we have, for the committees we have for the board. So you'll see curriculum, property, transportation, finance, personnel, policy, and public relations. I know we talked in some of the meetings last year where
Was a report I did on committees.
And you wanted, yeah, and you also wanted more reports from those committees. And one of the members providing, you know, updates to the whole board, so we can provide the information that we discussed. Might not be at that meeting, and we usually ever meet before, it's just a copy of our committee meeting, but it might be the, you know, January, you might report from December's curriculum meeting, or something. However else you want to do that.
When I was in that particular workshop, several school districts, what they do is they have someone from the secretarial staff attend the meeting to take minutes, and then within the week they email out to the boards, our email site, what happened in that committee, so that we know what's going on in the other committees. And it's not a lengthy report; it's, you know, anecdotal summary.
So then we'll no longer have, like in the green, where you had school and district, excuse me, and board separate. So like some of for example, like the board goals that we wanted, communication with our stakeholders, we still wanted, and we wanted sustainability and safety, things that we emailed to you, that where would they fall under here?
Safety would fall underneath property, transportation, and finance. We put that in there.
So
Okay, so we need to
we're
add
gonna
that.
add something there that says,
Which one?
property, transportation, and finance, something to continue to enhance and upgrade facilities,
Safety and security.
safety and security.
That's under, listen, did you see it?
Where?
Under policy.
It's under where?
Relations.
Policy and public relations.
Policy and public relations.
It's the last one, so this is next.
Same page.
I don't have to, I have it all in front of me. What is it?
Awareness of health and safety practices throughout the district. Another positive, that one.
We have 2 listed.
Where are you at? That, this right here, increase awareness of health and safety practices throughout the district. I think health and safety practices are not what we're talking about when we're
I think
talking
you mean
about.
like the physical structure, if you're building something, like a vestibule area.
We're talking about that.
That's what I'm saying.
So we would-
That's why I said cover the property.
So we are adding it in there.
Okay.
I have a question about this. It might just be me, but I was just saying how I think that we need to hold people accountable, and I agree that the board should also be held accountable. So if we're all together under goals, how are we being held accountable for things that we have to do as a board, separate and apart from the district? For example, just putting stakeholders out there as an example, right? I feel like the board needs to do what we need to do to communicate with the community. You do too sometimes, but your way of doing it is definitely gonna be different than my way of doing it. You know what I mean? So I'm not so sure that I personally, and of course, we're all aboard here, so we can all say our opinions, I'm not so sure that we should be together in one big group. I think that your goals should be backing up the school goal, which should be specific. I would think a school goal is kind of specific with what each school's going to do in each thing. Your job is to support the schools and watch over to make sure it's implemented correctly. My job, our job, if I'm not mistaken, is to make sure that you're okay and you can do your job.
So Angel, I think part of the concern is
That's
that,
me?
well, I think
No, I
what we
agree.
did, but what we did was looking at the board goals from 16-17. A lot of them seem to be district level goals, like sustainability. Those were things we were doing, those were things you were supporting. But the action steps were action steps that we were taking as a district, as a whole. So in terms of board goals, I mean, if it's community involvement and things like that, That's what other districts do, but it's specific to attendance at workshops or attendance at meetings, or what, as a board member, what your goals are for the year.
But I think what Angel's saying is, if you're calling property, transportation, and finance a board goal, and you're saying that we're saying that we're gonna hold you accountable, and you're gonna say, well, you have to be held accountable as well, which is what Angel said, how am I gonna be held accountable to continue to evaluate enhanced food service offerings?
Because what we're saying is, when we have our committee meetings, we would now have specific focuses that were developed now for us to discuss.
So what I think we're gonna do is these are gonna be our district goals, and we'll come up with our own board goals.
That's fine.
Okay. So at the top of these are all gonna remain district goals, correct?
Yeah, those are all things we're.
All things you're going to do
planning on
this
doing.
year.
Yep.
You're currently doing.
Right.
So we're just gonna take board off of them.
That was actually my other question, because some of the stuff we are currently doing. So is it, it's gonna be continuing to?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a continuation. Of course, some things are gonna be a continuation
Right,
because
right.
things can't get done in one school year.
Right.
That we want. Right? Like, look at I just brought up lunch. Look at where we came in 1 year. Look, like, we're gonna continue to keep going and going and going with that.
I think I remember Mr. Feely and I were talking about attendance and tardiness, like it got to like year 3 or 4 for us, whatever, and we're like, it's not really a goal anymore.
I
We're gonna
think
keep
that
doing
actually-
what we're doing,
Right.
but we don't have to make it a goal, but it was our goal for at least 3 years. So like there is things that are just gonna,
At some point.
it
you
seems
check it off and it's
repetitive,
good.
but some things have to keep going and then some things can kinda,
And if I could just add to what the two have said, I think what I'm hearing from the two of you, and I would agree, is as a member of the Board of Education, our job is to develop policies, approve policies, hand them over to the superintendent. Our other job is to hire a superintendent and make sure he or she is following these policies and running a good school. I think when you put us in with you together because you're using terms like evaluate, that's something a board member isn't legally allowed to do. That's called micromanagement. That's not a job of a board member. So I think I'm also more comfortable if they're separate.
And they're already up there, separate. Shocker.
Done. Done.
There you go. Well, should I backpedal? Does anybody have any other questions here on these district goals?
No.
Me either, so we're done with blue. So, Mr. Iannucci sent out an email to see where we, because I asked him to, thank you, what your vision was for goals for the upcoming school year as a board.
I still think communication with the community is so important. It's like number one past that, and it will be, and it should remain so.
So you would like to promote communication and involvement with the school community and its stakeholders?
Well, I don't know that that is really what's needed. I'm just saying that at some point, whether we want to face it or not, we're gonna need 8,000 people in this community. And as it stands right now, 8,000 people in this community have very little idea what goes on. They have very little interest in what happens. And it's why there's 3 positions open and 2 petitions in. I mean, we need to, like this is a repetitive thing since I've been here. I have not sat on a full board yet. And when it is full, people don't show up. So they don't show up. We have full board, but take a look in the room. If Naomi didn't make it, and if Angel couldn't leave work, where does this board sit? Unable to proceed. That's a shame. That's a shame. So how do we get people interested? How do we get people interested? When we needed to cut things, and there was it was a previous.
How do we get people interested in the education and safety of their children in the community?
But how funny is it that at that time people were interested, people came out. They come out when we need them to, but they don't come out when we want them to. So let's do it. Let's find a way somehow to open this, this board up to, being exposed to the community and involving the community in whatever way you can. I go to the school board meeting. I go to the council meetings every single month.
So you're saying we do this?
Yeah, we are ready.
Planning, zoning, RYAA, PTA,
It doesn't matter.
we're all good.
What does that do? Nothing.
Well, it keeps us informed together.
Absolutely. But
As
I
this-
inform you every month and you blow it off. It doesn't matter. It's okay. All that being said is, who cares who goes to what meetings? What members of the community are we communicating with? Or not? You can't go to the planning and zoning board meeting and go, I'm Chaz Buckheim and I'm on the school board, so it's like that's not.
So you're saying we need to go to
We
other
need some
events?
I'm not saying there's any meetings we can go to, I'm saying maybe we need to hold a meeting. That's what I'm saying. Our presence, whether it be me at the council meeting, you at the planning and zoning, you at the RY, it doesn't make a difference. We need to, it's always us that's going. We're always going to someone else's meeting. Maybe we need to hold a meeting.
Reach out to the other stakeholders?
We don't, but we reached out when we needed $700,000. I remember a couple of my friends having like coffee clubs and things at their houses and explaining what we were due to lose and what we needed. This is old. There is no involvement, and we're all guilt by association. We are a very non-committed. If we don't have a board as a whole, we can all say, I know you're committed, I know you're committed, I know there's previous board members that are committed, but it doesn't, we're not engaged in our community. There's going to come a time where we need them, whether it be while we're still here or the people that follow us. There is no interaction.
So
we're telling people, all right, you did your presentation, go home. We should be encouraging people to stay, find out what's going on. I was that parent that came to school board meetings for years before I was a member. It breaks my heart that we have staff members, a teacher, a former board member, and a camera person here. What are we doing? Here's how our message gets to the community via Dan Connor's blog. That is a damn shame. It is.
Do you have some suggestions?
Yes, let's do something. Let the Board of Education do something. Let's encourage people to we did a back to school barbecue. Let the Board of Education do something. Let us take responsibility for something. Because again, every one of us who was here, and there's only 3 of us that were here at the time, but every single one of us reached out, whether it be through our maps, through social media, through whatever ways, but people were sitting around talking about it. People are scrambling to come up with ideas. Why wait till we're up against the wall? What if we needed to go out for a bond referendum right now? What would our chances be? Slim, none, and gone.
So, but we can, right, so meet and greets.
Anything. What do we do? We meet 11 times a year because for some reason people feel like we don't need to meet in July. That, I don't know. I believe if nothing is on the agenda, then great, Dr. McCarron email us and say, hey, nothing's on the agenda, we don't need to meet. We needed to meet. As far as I'm concerned, we need to meet every single month. We've done away with committees, we did away with committees, we went to committees as a whole, and now we're back to committees. Here's the bottom line, we are not, and without micromanaging, we should be meeting more. We're going.
You feel uninformed?
Very. The last time we sat here as a whole with not enough board members, again, was 2 months ago. That should not happen. If you choose not to come, like everyone chooses not to come all the time, so be it, but there needs to be a meeting in July. But you say, oh, well, too many people take collation. Oh, too many people this, too many people do something every month around here on this board. Hold a meeting. If people don't come and we need to shut it down, let the community see that we don't have enough involvement to have a meeting, and maybe they'll get involved. I mean, this is old. I'm gonna be honest with you.
So you're talking about members who aren't here.
I'm talking about everything. We don't have members not here because nobody feels as though this is important. If it's not important, then you shouldn't be here, you shouldn't be here, you shouldn't be here. You guys should not have I don't know how many hours you have into the certified board member you are. I don't know how many hours you have into meetings, presentations. He comes back with more information. I've gotten more information from Chaz as a board member than I've probably gotten from any of the places I've went to. That's that. There's some boards where no one is certified. There's some boards where no one is engaged outside of this monthly meeting. We are fortunate, every single one of us who are board members are fortunate to have people like Chaz, like Naomi, like educators, like people in a management position. We have so many, this board is so diverse. Well, I don't, you know what I mean, but the bottom line is, we have such a diverse board, we have such a great community. Why are we not like?
Come up with a goal.
I will, I will.
Right now.
We keep, it's
Listen,
so generic, okay?
Listen, it is too generic, so
Correct.
let's change it together.
But again, I'm committed, I have the time, you're committed, you have the time.
I have an idea.
I have
Could we-
time now.
Could we do something like before a board meeting, invite people out, like, you know, come out for coffee and donuts, somebody go to Deluxe, ask them to donate donuts. You know, somebody make an extra pot of coffee in the back. Just see, if people don't come out, then shame on this community, because they'll be the first ones to complain when like the roof collapses and you can't put a roof on. But give people a chance. You know what I mean? Again, the involvement is slim and none around here. I'm not only talking about board members on attendance, but let's talk about when there's 3 positions open and 2 positions. That's not only attendance, that's lack of interest, that's lack of care. And in a community this size, you're talking about Belmar had what? 3 positions and 6 people running. Runnemede's demographics.
However,
It's political.
I will say that we in Runnemede make it known. Don't come at us with a political team up
Agreed.
against our board member.
We did. Remember, we had
But
that.
that's not the case in our surrounding
Surrounding,
towns. Like when I get phone calls and say I want to go out to dinner because I want to run for board, and I say you can do whatever you want, but keep your political stuff to yourself.
Oh, agreed.
We don't deal with that here.
We need
They
some
deal with that there.
I'm sure they do.
But
We
we
dealt with that here too. But all that being said is we have no interest.
Come up with a goal.
Like I said, I have the extra time. Children may be involved.
See what?
But you know what? And here's another thing. We live in a community where a lot of people have multiple children. Like open some, and I'm not saying the barbecue once a year, but I'm saying like have people come. You're saying the more people that come and do presentations, like we're all about that. I think every board member and administrator in this room agrees with that. But what I'm saying is, with the community, we need them. We need people to become interested in what it is we do or the potential that they could do. We've lost some very committed board members. Like we're and look at our numbers.
So
You know
you
what I
want,
mean?
so you think
I
that
want
we
the
should have
community.
the community, you want us to be more engaged with the community, which I wholeheartedly agree with.
I agree.
Wholeheartedly
Yes,
agree
I
with.
do.
So we should maybe consider doing some type of a meet and greet.
Even if it's
And maybe we
I
should
don't
put
know.
our pictures on the website as board member, which I was actually going to mention, when we're talking about having your pictures up.
there's very few
think
people
there
that
are
don't
some
know me,
districts
but
that
Black Hills
have,
has them up.
have their, it depends on your security, like how much you want yourself out there. But there are certain boards
That have a bio.
Have a
You
bio,
have a bio.
how many children you have, you know, what their.
the same thing you would put out if you wanted to be elected for the position is what
So
you're
it's
saying.
like, and then they also have like the schools, because I'm also a weirdo about like the different
Right.
like pictures.
People
So
would
like,
draw mustaches on me at this point, but
Well, let me
that's-
throw out a suggestion. And I hate to push the board meeting back because I know how hard these people work and how many hours they put in. But maybe what we do is every other month.
I just said it, everyone.
Every other month from
we can do it.
6:30 to 7:30, we have a meet and greet here.
Yeah.
Come, and if they can only come if they can bring their children. We have.
We have a
the-
place for children.
We have a
That's
place
what
for
I'm
the children to
saying.
go read or whatever, and then have the board, but only do it every other month so that we're not running these people
Overwhelming that.
around
I
either.
agree. And what about like
And listen to their ideas and suggestions.
and open this up not only to parents, but like we need to get the word out. Like you
Anyone
as an
in the community.
administration team need to reach out to the mayor and council and say, hey, on your website, because you may not get people that look at your website that don't have children. We need to involve the community, and I don't just mean
That's a
everybody
good one.
with
Did
a
you
child.
hear that,
Then,
Sean?
let's take it a step further, and while these people are coming, if Chaz happened to have walked around the school and a community member says, well, what's your computer lab look like now? And here, it's here. But I mean, you can walk, each of us can take, you know, let people need to be, you know, I have the bond referendum for this gym still. Just remember that. That's a community gym, and it states that. So again.
So we
you know,
could go out to like Runson House.
No, so if somebody from Runson House wants to hold their funeral after party in that gym, technically, they could submit a request to this Board of Education, and we really have to approve them, sadly enough. We don't have any reason not to. What I'm saying is, we reached out to the community when we wanted to do things. We reached out to the community when we needed them. Let's reach out to the community and thank them and get them involved. Let's walk them around. You don't have kids in school, do you? if you didn't know this position was open, have you ever walked around here? Have you ever walked around Bingham and Downey? No, let's get the community involved, we're
That
gonna
would
need
be a
that.
good one as well for the
Exactly, too.
principal's administration goal to involve parents to do something around the school. Well, they do have, I have an idea for your.
Either that or I'm gonna say we need to just.
Naomi, you have the floor.
Go.
I have an idea. You know, our gifted and talented children that are wonderful on the web, could we possibly maybe do an intergenerational thing? Like you open up the computer lab with those kids that are techie and show grandma and grandpa how to set up an email, set up.
Mr. Iannucci told me he wanted to do that already.
Okay.
He told me
because-
that like 2 months ago.
That would be something as a board, we would, we could use our children, their skills, making them intergenerational with the senior citizens, or even a mom and dad. I had to go out of my comfort zone and open up a Twitter account to get my backpack information to see my child's school supply list for Triton. And it was way out of my comfort zone. I hate the computer. And I did it because I needed information for him. So maybe grandma and grandpa can learn how to use Facebook and an email account or whatever it is. We could open something up maybe once a month.
Or maybe just members of our community.
Right, anybody. I'm just
That's
saying,
what you were talking about, like members of the
intergenerational
community.
would be a good way to get the older senior citizens or anybody else to come into the schools free of charge. And it would give the kids character education, how to be patient, how to work with grandma and grandpa, how to, you know, work
Or
with
just
the
your
public.
neighbor, it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
grandma and grandpa, it could be like, your grandma and grandpa might live in Cherry Hill. I'm talking about the members of the
Right.
community,
Right,
you
in
know?
the community, whoever would have an interest.
The people who vote.
Who would like to learn, yeah, a new skill or.
The evening adult school.
I was gonna
No.
say that
No,
we continue
that's only
with
the high
that
school.
here.
No, that gives me a lot.
Mr. Iannucci said he'd like to do that.
The
so
library
One of
culture.
the things we talked about this summer.
Mr.
We really
Iannucci.
did.
I'm saying, one of the things we talked about this summer is having a community education and recreation program for the school, where you're doing things like that. So in fact, Indiana uses like, you know, computer skills, you know, computer program. Now it's changed a little bit more since that, but you know, there's still clubs that you do with, you know, art club, or if people are interested in the babysitting services, or CPR training for people. That's all
Yeah.
things you could use if your school could promote that.
And there's grants out there to actually make them happen.
So that
You could do something as silly as a walking club, like in the winter months, for like the senior citizens to walk our building from 6 to 7 every night for exercises. Or exercise purposes, you know what I mean? Debbie said she's signing off. I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding. But it's something like that you think would be silly, but like, would get people into the building. Get them in. You should never feel uncomfortable coming in a building, just saying, because as a board member, a few times like I have been, not recently, but in the past, like, you should never, no community member ever should feel uncomfortable coming into the building. They should be welcomed and dealt with appropriately. And we can open up our building. I mean, Frank probably won't like that. He's not here right now. So, Dr. McCarron wrote down everything that we were saying.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Bi-monthly meet and greet, and input. I mean, I don't know if that's the right term, but something where we're getting ideas, suggestions from the community. But from members of the community.
Sean?
Yeah,
Input.
From the community.
from the community. Private board meeting. And on that particular month, we just go like 6:30, 7:30, and then start the board meeting at 7:30 instead of 7.
Or do it just 6
And
to
it's only
7?
every other month. That's a board meeting. And if you do it every month,
It's,
people
you're
will
not
back.
back, exactly.
Yeah,
I don't know if it is, but
it's good. Good job.
It's very
We don't
important.
You're right.
And we need
They
to,
changed
we need to, like, there's a way to do it, because I spoke to other, so we need to, move to small, like, make our board smaller. We do,
Decrease numbers.
what's that?
You decreased the members.
Correct.
From, what do we have, 9 right now?
just 7.
Just 7.
And 4 would be a quorum. I mean, we need to seriously consider that. And I did a little bit of research, someone mentioned it to me a couple of years ago, and I looked at them like they had 10 heads and thought, are you crazy? We need everyone. We do, but we don't have everyone. And we never have everyone. So we, in this district, and, you know, there's no reason why we can't operate with 7 board members and a quorum of 4, when we already do that 99% of the time.
Well, we'll have Dr. McCarron look into that.
Okay.
With his friends at the county election.
Yeah, it's called move to something, I forget the actual term, but this is like, it's almost like it would look better for us. We're all here.
Oh, but remember that we can move on from that, because the people are here, so like,
I know.
we need to move along now.
But what if one of you couldn't be? What if one of us who's always here couldn't be? We ran
Well, I don't
risky.
have perfect attendance like you. But.
Sorry, well, I'm just saying.
Chaz, you had some other that you wanted to.
No, it was just that.
And you know, excuse me, and we know our dates are like
Way in advance.
advance.
That's what I said,
So.
like, you wouldn't have submitted a letter if you knew that 5 of the next 12 times you can't be here, would you? No.
All right, so did you have any other? I know Chaz has emailed me some more goals that he would like. So I don't think anyone else did.
I don't know if this comes under board goals, but it comes under communication, and I hadn't had a chance to ask Sean. But did you get a communication from New Jersey School Boards about hosting 8th grade dialogue?
Yes, I was gonna bring that up as correspondence.
Okay, okay.
Awesome.
But not a board, you don't have any ideas for a board goal?
That was my only thing with
Gotcha.
the community activity.
I have an idea for a board goal.
Okay.
What if, and it's gonna be personal goal,
She said,
or
what
not,
if?
we all try to gain an extra few credits per year to try to reach the level of as the data-
Certified board.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, that's-
I was
that's
weird.
not-
I was like, oh.
Tammy's in the
Come on,
baby
yeah.
seat.
You gonna make
Couple
it
years. If you, in a few classes, voluntary classes, per year, regular midday training, to try to keep ourselves engaged.
I read all of the classes down. Isn't that terrible? But
Maria said fine, we'll go.
Well,
The ultimate, sorry, Chaz, go ahead.
the Glassboro Board of Education, every single board member is at least certified, is a certified board member or the next level.
The next level is certified board. You do it together.
Then you get a certified board.
We can do that.
So maybe that's your goal.
And then,
Hard.
but that is a commitment, that's a huge commitment.
We can do
Time.
that.
Over time, though, we do more time,
We can't
over
do
time.
It took me 10 years,
Oh.
almost 10. So that's.
It took me 9 not to be certified.
How many is it, how many extra credits is it?
I think it's 40 credits. I think it's 40 for certified.
So that's not fair.
Can you
I
do it
think.
online?
No.
No, not for some of them.
It's if you like professional development for board members, they hold training classes, say on school law.
Only
Yeah,
the
you
man.
do it.
No.
Sorry.
And they're different
I'm
credits.
trying for you.
Yeah, each one is worth more.
There's 1 credit, 2 credit, 3 credit courses. You know, I think that's a great idea, but make it realistic, you know, as far as how many credits. I mean, if you go to the NCAA convention, you can easily get 8 or 10 over those 3 days.
If they get out in time, we can push them.
All right,
The credits are set up either 1, 2, or 3 credits per class, right?
Usually, they have some exceptions I've seen where it's an intense program, you go to a couple weeks and you can get like 4 or 5, but normally it's 1, 2, or 3.
there you go. That's a good one. We can earn 5.
Earn 5 credits annually.
We can do it, Dennis, we're gonna do it. We can do that.
You go to the county meeting, you earn a credit.
I know, I have a credit or 2,
Yeah.
but I'm not working nights anymore, so I'm in, the game.
You're not? Well, wait, then that brings up another question.
Annually.
Hold on, we're on, is it a board goal?
Oh,
It should be, yeah.
Sean, that needs to be, that should be earned 5 or more
Yes.
at New Jersey School Board Association. NJSBA, or NJSBA
Unless you
credits
want to take
annually.
my doctorate.
This is a board goal. We switched to Wednesdays for you and another board member.
All right,
We go back to Wednesdays.
I have board members that say they need to stay on Tuesday.
Because Patty can't make it because it's on Tuesdays.
No, that's not what Patty texted me, so we can talk about that when everyone's here.
All right.
we're gonna talk about that when everyone's here.
All right, because Tuesdays have become a problem for some people, that's why I thought if we could go back to Wednesdays, way better.
That's not what she texted me, so I'll talk to you about it later, because we have to go on the board goals.
Attendance is a board goal.
But what I'm saying is, I can show you, that's not what she said.
Yeah, no, as a whole.
When we have the board as a whole in September, we can talk about it.
Okay.
But we also have inconvenienced other people who changed their positions, and I think that we have them until the end of the year, correct? Until January.
I know we all do.
So we're not changing anything until January.
Okay.
And you know what, just to follow up what you're saying, I don't know if it needs to be a board goal. I think that someone that's on this board, if they're not committed to miss meetings, then we need to take action.
We can take action.
Not let it linger.
I agree, but we've had board members who didn't have an attendance issue that it became one when it moved to Tuesday, is what my issue.
Okay.
They ran under a Tuesday, under the meetings being on Tuesday, and then, I'm sorry, under it being on Wednesday, when we moved to Tuesday, they did have an issue with the attendance.
But if they were at the,
Uh-huh.
at the reorg meeting, they should have said that.
I agree,
So,
I agree.
again, I'm on your side with that, that they should have been at the reorg meeting. Because if we have enough to agree, we're going forward with it. But it was certain Tuesdays she couldn't make. It wasn't a Tuesday that was an issue. But it's staying, people already rearranged their schedules. So it's gonna have to stay like that till January. Chaz?
Well, number 3 goal would be to continue with sustainability.
Just so everyone knows real quick for goal 2 though, I just also added complete annual governance trainings, which falls under that training component for
Absolutely.
board members.
Yes.
On time? No.
Yeah.
We'll just say complete trainings.
How about we put in there like, the only thing they're really supposed to do is complete their superintendent evaluation on time? You can put that in, I'd like to see that in there.
Under which one?
2, because I mean, we don't have a full board that evaluated our superintendent, which is, to me, embarrassing.
Oh, I agree. I agree, I'm on there. Last minute, but I'm only kidding, I wasn't.
Whatever.
I was not last minute, that's
Whatever,
the
you and I
important
last year were last minute
thing.
together.
We were last year, but not this year. But they're gonna think it's right when we do.
Okay.
Okay, goal 3, sustainability.
Mhm.
What's the wording?
You know what, you have to add on to that goal too, because the superintendent thing doesn't kind of go along with that, right? Each
I was
board
gonna
member-
change it, each member work towards certified board member status, and by doing your governance classes, by
That goes
doing
in.
all those pieces.
How about follow the protocols of the NJSBA?
Just to include the evaluating superintendent promptly, because that would be.
Like each board member takes initiative to complete all aspects of board member responsibilities.
And both times,
Takes initiative to,
Oh, you want me to repeat that?
yeah.
just get out the one that people raise their hand to and write it all down. Remind everyone.
Takes initiative to complete all aspects
Timely complete all aspects.
of board member responsibilities.
Responsibilities.
Roll. Either one.
So in 8 years, we could all be certified, is that what you're telling me? Wow. So I could have been certified already. If those were really fast.
8 years.
I have that long time. And Christopher will have a Chromebook in 6th grade, that will
By the time he comes.
Kindergarten, I was thinking of that. Keep
Kindergarten.
working that budget. He'll be a kindergartner.
Chaz, you emailed me 2, right?
It was that.
Straight down.
It was those 2.
So sustainability and security, we would like to keep.
And security.
Because, like Dennis had mentioned earlier, that could be,
We could just connect their fingerprint stuff and have like a Walmart creator, so the senior citizens at breakfast.
We use,
We have our the Runnemede has a borough also from here. The senior citizens with and training, they was what that was. The finish
This was a bad night for you to be here.
So this would be year 2.
Do you think we better have a biannual progress update or annual? What do you think?
Either one, just,
Halfway through or?
sure, well, that's,
Yeah,
I
because
think
there's
that's good.
October submissions.
I think that's good.
Halfway through.
Because then we can say, well, what do we need as a board to help them achieve that goal before the end of the year? Sure. We need to make sure the obstacles are there. A progress update on sustainable benchmarks. Should that be add or up? Or add and bind? Annual, this doesn't read right now.
And
A, fine, thank you.
It has that verb.
when it was annual, the annual was appropriate.
Instead of ballot.
Just saying. It was appropriate.
And then we'd also like to keep safety, and in regards to looking into vestibules and some other type of entrance into the building.
I just want all of you to be safe and sound every single day.
Did you see what the borough did?
Everybody that works in it goes to school.
We're very
Safe as good as we can make.
To continue to enhance and upgrade safety and security for district facilities. Can you repeat it?
Because we love our staff and our students and our staff. All right. Does it hear me? Does everyone hear me? We love
So
our
then you
staff and our
can
students.
continue to work with architects in possibly,
Building in school.
no, 48 mil.
With architect and superintendent, because we're working with Mark as well, with this, right? Architect and the superintendent.
Sure, and building principals if need be.
Yeah. And his administrative team.
Does anyone else have anything to add to any of that? Naomi, no?
I think it's clear, I think we're.
I think it's a solid, we have 4 instead of 3 this year.
I think it's more workable having 3 to focus on.
Well, it's 4 this year.
I missed the 4th one.
It's safety.
Safety and security.
3 and 4 are continuations from last year.
Together, okay.
No, they're.
They're separate,
Separate.
but they're.
They're right there.
Now, okay, thank you.
Does anyone have anything else to add?
Unlike you.
So we're good. Well, no, because it won't take us long to get to executive and then. Yes?
No, I'm fine.
Correspondence, Sean, you had something?
New Jersey School Boards Association reached out to us last year. I think they held it at, the 8th grade dialogue was held at Camden County College. I guess we were so popular the year prior that it's been requested that
I said that, didn't
we
I?
hold, the 8th grade dialogue for Camden County here for this upcoming year, which will be nice because the all-purpose room will be air conditioned, so at least it'll be cooler, air conditioning and Runnemede. So I just wanted to make sure that I informed the board of that prior to,
Did they give you a date or no?
It's in the email, yeah, I take it.
Yeah, it's right before graduation, it's like a month
I
before
know.
graduation.
What's that about?
And that would be something.
It's fine, it's in the spring, all right, you don't have to give any.
Absolutely.
And that would be a great community outreach to
Yes.
invite the community, mayor and
Well,
council.
there's not really.
Well, I think that we're not just concerned with inviting just mayor and
Well, I
council.
said, and the community, that was
There
the
wasn't
second.
enough.
I said the community.
Yeah, and you do have to watch the amount of people.
March 21st. Yeah, we were limited with our numbers last
Yeah,
time.
we
They were
limited.
not happy with the
College,
county
yeah.
They were much happier.
March 21st from 6 to 9.
With our arrangements here.
Got it.
College, you couldn't hear the
March.
speakers.
Yes, they weren't
Horrible.
happy with it.
All right, so we're gonna go, we're gonna go back to the meeting agenda. So where we're at now is the recognition of public comments on agenda items only. At this time, does any member of the public have any comments on agenda items?
Amy Farry, 816 North Reed Avenue. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Amy.
I have a list here. So, I don't know, is there a reason that recognition of citizen and staff non-agenda items have to be at the end of the meeting? At the end of the board meeting?
How come we do agenda items only first and then, and anything at the end?
Yes.
I don't know if there's a specific reason as to why.
So, if you want people to stay, maybe if they stayed for the front end, you added both to the front end. Maybe you made it and/or, and you did it at the very beginning instead of at the very end. So if there was a public issue, they didn't have to sit through, not that we don't want them to sit through, but I'm saying that it could be brought up at the end, beginning instead of the end as well. Secondly, on all of the goals, not a single one that I see addressed for safety issue, under safety, regarding outside of building safety, drop-off safety, pickup safety, and I think in light of the incidents that occurred over the summer, that we need to add that as a district so children aren't getting hit by cars. So that would be my recommendation from me as a parent who was dropping off in the morning at Bingham. It's still not corrected. It's a big problem. There's children running across the street still. There's people dropping off across the street. And this summer at Extended Care, there was a child that was hit by a car. So I think that we really need to make an effort to have administration out there and be seen and be aware of, so that it's not just the police, it's our responsibility, not the police's responsibility. And I want to make sure that no one has to have that happen again.
With Amy's question, what do we do now?
Oh, it's a hot.
People drop in, drop off?
Bingham School, all three buildings, we drop off in front of the building. We do suggest to parents that they drop off on the school side of the building. We do sometimes have parents try to have a car line, but sometimes parents are in a rush or whatever, so sometimes they'll stop across the street, let their kids out. I did speak with Mr. Bealing this summer about creating more people out there, so we have people to get them out of their cars.
So there's administrators out there when
Well, we're gonna have more people, out there, administration, teachers, whoever it might be, to help get those kids out of the car. It's difficult, and I understand your concerns. If you have 3 kids and you have 3 car seats in the back, sometimes the only way for those kids to get out are the driver's side exit. So I can't tell a parent to put their kid, I don't know what else I can tell them to do as far as if they have 3 kids get out of the car.
Well, the only thing I can compare it against, though, is that my oldest obviously was here prior, and Mrs. Gallagher had a bus that pulled up in front of Bingham, and we were not allowed to get out of the car. It was called a drop-off lane only. Drop-off meaning the driver was not allowed to leave the front seat of the car. If you were required to get out of the front seat of the car, you should have parked up further so that you weren't crossing. And if that's and there was none of that. There was a drop-off lane, and it was managed by her and Miss Moore, the 2 people. But the problem is that if you have to have someone out there who's willing to deal with confrontation and be assertive. And I don't mean that people were argumentative. That was never the case. It was someone who was willing to say, move it along, folks. And not everybody's comfortable being that type of person. But and that being said, there has to be policy, there has to be public safety involved, and we all have to follow rules. Because I don't want to be the parent that hits one of those kids. I don't want that. And no parent should have to think that they're getting their next child out to get them out of a car seat while they've got one standing in the street behind them and people are going around them.
Yeah.
So if you don't implement rules and guidelines, it's just left to everyone. Everyone's in a hurry. We all know it. Everybody's more important than the next, and that isn't true.
I don't get the chance to go past Bingham like I used to when my kids were younger. However, how are they dropping off? Are they pulling in where they feel like it?
Yes.
Or is it
It's not a straight line. It's willy-nilly.
Someone needs to be out there and drop off and pick up, somebody's gonna.
There's a lane to go.
Yeah, we're gonna.
They go all the way up or car
There is,
lines.
I mean, go ahead.
But the person doesn't always.
No, I've seen personally, because I do monitor it, we do, especially at Bingham, we do have about 5 staff members out every morning. 2 are on the sidewalk and about 2 or 3 are at the door. And the bus comes to a totally separate area. I know over this past year, and that I'm gonna give kudos to the police department, they have the enhancements that were done over the last school year. I do monitor and I do watch. There are parents that take a little longer. From my experience, what I've seen firsthand, it's typically conversation between a staff member and, you know, or an extra long hug or taking a kid out of a car seat. I don't see, from my standpoint, the parents that are just disregarding rules. I think just sometimes, like, you know, when you're dealing with young 5- and 6-year-old kids, it's like, I don't want to go to school today. That might be a little bit more lengthy of a drop-off, but I know Dr. McCarron and I have watch that closely because I know that's been an ongoing concern, and I've seen a lot of improvements. Are we at, you know, is it a perfect drop-off? I have yet to see any school district that has successfully done that, but
That's why I'm asking.
What's
Because
that?
I see it every single morning, that's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah.
So, I've mentioned this many times here.
Yes.
I work in downtown Camden, where Leap Academy is, and Rutgers University, and it's a very, very high traffic area.
Yes.
It's terrible. They literally have, but it's a whole lane though. It's not like where, like at Bolts, when I drop my son off, you kind of pull in where you can kind of fit yourself.
Yes.
It's not like that. They have to pull up a lane.
By
It's like
cones, the cones are out
It's like
there.
a whole lane.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I would rather start an initiative where parents are walking their kids
That's
to
not
school
gonna happen,
versus
that's not
implementing
gonna
a traffic pattern, but, and that kind of also ties into our sustainability, process, so I think that, you know, like Amy said, there are definitely, you know, needs of improvement, but I do want you to know that it is monitored, there has been improvements. I have, and I am, you know, I mean, I'm shared between the 2 buildings, but I mean, I am there to monitor staff, to get feedback. I have Mrs. Spance, who's at Bingham, who's the teacher in charge, there at the entry doors every single morning. And she will say, you know what, there were a couple parents that were a little, you know, longer than usual because they, you know, had trouble, or like, you know, were going through a backpack, whatever. And those weren't things that I necessarily want to stop at an elementary school, that little extra few seconds that you might want to share with your child. If we're solely focusing on you know, a traffic flow, then, you know, maybe we could work closely with the police department. But I do think the staff is doing it.
I would have to disagree with pickup. I can't speak on drop off because I never did it. But pickup, there was definitely 2 or 3, I'm not gonna name drop because that's not appropriate, but there was 2 or 3 people who had lack of concern and pulled up every
And I wouldn't disagree with you on
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
To the
exactly.
point where
I'm just
I
saying
would be
just
like,
make
yeah, you guys should mind the police, be like, you need to ticket them. I don't care if they live here. Every day they do it. Ticket them. And then like
I think they have, I mean.
they did ticket a few.
I think the police
but like
department did a great job.
but like it took me as a community
Exactly.
member to be like, they're blatantly disregarding the rules. The same people every day who happen to like seriously, it's just ridiculous, ridiculous.
And we
The
have
same
made
people.
phone calls and have, you know, had discussions with parents who are not abiding the rules. But we will continuously in any area, you know, look to make further improvements.
And is there a reason why? And maybe there is, we don't do cones in a drop-off line like we did. There's no monitoring from the door.
No, we have people at the front, on the sidewalk too.
I hear you.
Yeah, there are
But
2
you've
staff
also
members
said
there all the time.
monitors at the door, there's 2 on the sidewalk
Right.
and 3 at the door. Okay, right there, the numbers are a little bit wrong. You're talking to a parent who
We
did
need
the
kids
thing.
especially, there's a lot to the planning.
We need to change the planning, that's what I'm gonna say. we had cones. The former principal, she went out there every single day. How do I know? Because I had sons that were almost killed a block away from Bingham who had some issues, so I had to get there early to pick them up. And she was out there Miss Gallagher was out there every single day with Miss Moore, and I'll only refer because I watched this for years. I had a 24-year-old, I was 16 and 15. She was out there every single day with cones. And you know what? She put those cones out, and then she stood there, and you know what? Nobody took their little extra time, and nobody even bothered to break from what was expected of them because she was present and people knew. She did from day one. You need to enforce whatever you are going to do from day one. This is not the police department's job. The police department is to serve and protect. They're not to watch kids going in and out. They're not to set a standard. And I know everybody got a letter from the chief, but we need to be responsible. We as a district need to be more responsible. We need to stop relying. We need someone. Just like we needed someone to do the website, we need someone to enforce the safety. I don't know what goes on at Downey, but from what I understand, it's pretty much the same thing. And during Ms. Gallagher's era, it was Ms. Connell was over, it was vice versa. But so when Ms. Connell was at Downey, or was at Bingham, she did the same thing. We need to be more effective in our safety practices. We do. We can't say, well, there's 3 people at the door, because 3 people at the door aren't saving the kids in the street. And if there's the need for 3 people at the door, then find extra ones. Let's do it. Let's do it from day one. I'll do it. Do you want me to go out there? I can't because I'm micromanaging. We need to do it.
What I saw at Leap is they have one towards the back of this car. There's like 5 or 6 cones that it literally looks like a whole separate lane.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 full lanes of traffic with people coming off 676. Yeah. Like it's a crazy area there.
Do it.
And there's kids crossing the street at the same time with 4 lanes of traffic. It's crazy right there. But they have a full line of cones, and there's enough room for maybe like 4 or 5 cars to pull up with the 4 or 5 cones. They have one at the very front, waving people go, merging traffic. There's one in the middle, helping open the door, get the kid out. There's one in the back, guiding them in. So it's almost like it's almost like you can't stop because the person behind you is waiting to move along to go.
It's safe. The whole
It really does work.
Like a toll booth.
It's like a toll booth. It really is. I know it's kind of quick, but.
Yeah, and I can definitely have a conversation with the administrative team to make sure,
Yeah,
I mean, obviously safety is a top priority of mine, so I don't want that, so we'll make sure that we.
But it's been an issue for the last few years, and the issue seems to still be present, and the issue seems to be getting worse. So that's why I said, let's do it. Let's, like the first year, be the enforcer or find an enforcer. Make this happen. Make people afraid to stop. Extra
I don't know that that's what I was
extra
going
time
for.
was, I had extra time with my kids every morning, but I didn't hold off the rest of the world when I did it. Extra time was necessary, they got it, and we did it down the street. Yeah. Well, I'll apply for the job and resign. How's that?
Amy has one more item.
Supervisor stipend. So it's like they're getting.
Right.
Maybe even parents.
I have one more thing.
Okay.
The other thing that wasn't on there that was taken off was the review of policy with staff, and everyone signed off on it. It was on last year's goal. Like, it was one of last year's goal list items that didn't come on to this year's goal list items. And that review of policy and implementation of, and making sure it's being done.
For the district goals?
For the district, I think it was on
Okay.
district goals or board goals, I'm not quite sure. It was one of the ones, but it didn't get carried over into this year, and I'm not quite sure that letting policy review go to the wayside is a good thing. Do you know what I'm talking about, Angel?
You mean our review of policy, or you mean?
No, it was, if you read on, I think it was school goals, or was it district goals, Mark? I don't have it listed in front of me. It talked about review of policy
and
and.
public relations.
No, this is this year.
No,
She
that's
said it
this
was
year,
on
it was on
last
last year's. It was talked about signing off or review of policy. I don't know where.
I see it. It's goal 3, bless you, under
Excuse me.
district goals. The goal was to increase awareness of health and safety practices throughout the district to promote a positive school culture and working environment. And it was said revise staff resources for all employees, review of all school safety protocols. And then in the evidence column, it says staff members signed off on all required policies and revised the time schedule for PD to reflect that.
Not the PD part, but the part where they reviewed their policies. So did they review What policies did they review? I just feel like as a district, that was not something that was successfully completed this year. I don't think that that was, like, maybe the PD part was done, obviously I can't vouch for that. I'm talking about other experiences. So one of the things that I was trying to find out was, is there a way for us to continue to review those policies each year and have someone sign off on them?
So I'm gonna ask this question then, because I think this is,
Well,
hold on a minute. This might answer your question. Does every staff member have to sign off that they reviewed a staff handbook and the board policies?
Annually?
Every year?
Yes. So last year what we did was we linked, so we had one document that was a sign-off sheet, similar to the parent sign-off sheet this year. The New Jersey Department of Education came out with mandated policies that had to be reviewed annually, along with professional development that had to be provided every year, every 2 years, every 3 years. So as a part of that, what we did was we linked our policies to what was needed, and that way we review that with the staff during opening days and throughout different PDs, and then each staff member signs off that they're aware of those policies and know that they're in place. So that's what
that's what that intent was when that was implemented. So now that's being done every year?
Every year.
Okay.
That hasn't changed.
Did that answer your question?
It did, because
Okay.
that's what I think drove that goal.
And that was something new that the state came out with, so now they've revised and updated
Okay.
for any changes that are needed.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? So reports, individual reports will resume in September, as well as fire and security. For the PTA report, do you have something to say for NJSBA?
No, not at this time, but I do with the zoning board.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, I was at the zoning board last meeting, and there was only one action item. They had a presentation by an outside firm that the municipality has hired to look into the redevelopment of Black Horse Pike. We're talking from Runnemede, starting at the New Jersey Turnpike to Clemers Bridge Road. The company that was hired, or the consultants that were hired, did an evaluation of that period, that portion of our town, and it encompasses 350 homes and/or businesses. At the meeting, the consultants distributed to each member of the zoning board and the mayor a copy of their preliminary ideas. They gave it to the zoning board to review, and in September, they will discuss what was submitted. The zoning board will give more information, ideas to this consultant, and then starting in October, they will have sessions with the public to talk about the ideas of the direction in which the zoning board and mayor and council want to go. And they said was, I didn't get a whole lot of information about what the ideas are, the plans are. Other than the plan is set up in a way that they would not be forcing any homeowner, at least this time, any homeowner to sell their property. That it would be voluntary, and they want to try and bring in some restaurants and retail, as well as dwellings, maybe kind of like what they did in Collingswood, 2-story, 3-story condo, townhome type of thing. The only thing I did was I did speak at that meeting, and what he called me and said, "Mr. Buckham, do you have anything to say?" So I stepped up to the mic, and all I said was that I hope they do some real intense research on retail. And I said the reason why is people my age, or a little bit younger, still go out to malls and do their shopping. When you're talking about the millennium, the 30-year-olds, the late 20-year-olds, my daughter's 36, my son's 38, they're both married, they both have children. 75% of everything they buy is online. They don't go to stores anymore. So I said, I just hope that when you're doing this plan, you think about that, because I don't think small retail stores would survive, and you're going to have empty properties. So that's the only thing that happened at that meeting, and it's, as I attend these zoning board meetings, I'll get more information. And so I do stand up to speak at these meetings so that they know that the Board of Education is interested in what's happening in our community.
Thank you.
I have one thing for New Jersey School Association. In September, I'm on the board of directors, there'll be a meeting in September, and they will let us know everything that is going to be available to us for our, for the convention and the training, so I'll have more of a report for the October meeting before we go to convention as to what they're going to be doing. The rumor is they're going to be doing a paperless registration check-in that they piloted last year. They were successful in piloting online registration when you get there instead of getting all the paper. So they are also initiative in being sustainable too. So, but I'll have a report for October.
Thank you.
I also attended a workshop on August 2nd, New Jersey School Board Association workshop on social media used by board members. So you have a copy. I just want to read one statement that I think it really sums up being careful when you go out on Twitter, Facebook, and all that. And that's simply, let me get that statement.
I had to have a Twitter.
It's so much better not going on.
Basically it is, and that is when you go out on social media, board members, it's there forever.
Absolutely.
Perpetuity. It never goes away. Be extremely careful as to what you say, and make sure you're saying something that is not going to offend a member of the community, because it's going to come back and haunt the entire board and the school district.
I'm so politically
Be
correct.
professional. Be correct.
I'm so
Yes, the PTA asked that I announce too that they're doing some things different this year. Once a month, they're going to have like fundraiser nights at different local establishments. So in September, on the 25th, there's a Panera night at Panera in Deptford, right over there by Sam's Club and Walmart. And then they get a percentage of anyone who goes in to eat that night. So if you're looking for something to do.
Are you going to announce something?
What time? From when to when?
5 to 9. And we're also for having a designer bag bingo here on October 13th if anyone is interested in coming. So I can give you some more information on that. Yes, we got some nice bags. So that's October 13th. That'll be about when we have money again. Oh no, you're still us poor teachers. That'll be about when the paycheck.
Can I ask a question? Anybody, including our people in the audience, has anybody in the past month done any shopping at Macy's at the Deptford Mall? You have? So have I. Anyone else? Okay, when you shop at Macy's right now at the mall, I was over there buying some summer things on sale. I think my bill came to $64.15. The cashier said, would you like to round that up to $65? And she said the reason why is that extra 85 cents is going to be going to the Deptford Township School District to help buy teacher supplies. I think that's a great idea. I don't think us going to the Deptford Mall to some store, they're going to say, oh yeah, let me contribute to the Runnemede school system. But I know in talking to Sean, I know he's done some reaching out. How about the Acme supermarket? Hey, would you mind rounding off your receipt 84 cents to the even number? Because that 84 cents is going to go back to the Runnemede school district. Offset the cost of supplies.
I did it at ShopRite yesterday for the South Jersey Food Bank, so it must be like a new thing. So Dr. McCartney did it.
Dollar General has always done it for literacy. Isn't that funny?
Yeah,
So, yeah.
Dollar General
that was a
does go for
creative
literacy.
way to help your local school district.
They held it in July, I think there's another one in the fall. that they can do.
That's awesome.
Chaz, I have a quick question for you, so I go to zone movie. Did they mention what they're doing with that property behind the Acme on East Shore Road?
You mean no,
They can't.
no, not that, that zoning board meeting this past month, this month actually, it was all about the redevelopment ideas. They wanted to try and get our Black Horse Pike in our town like a Collinswood, you know, to bring people in, or people in our community to stay here and have dinner and support, and maybe some additional housing, you know, maybe for 55 and over, and things like that. But it's all about our Pike. The biggest problem we have is we can't expand our highway. That's
And parking.
And we used to have parking.
We used to have it.
Remember, we talked about
It's narrow too.
yeah, but they have
Collinswood
parking.
is narrow, you're right, but you
But
can
they-
park on
they
the
have
street.
parking,
And you also
yes.
have the high-speed line in Collingswood with
Correct.
all that parking back there.
Yep, and that's a quarter. That's like a quarter an hour, so.
And if you go on Saturday to their farmers markets, it's free parking. Yeah.
All right, does anyone else have anything for the good of order? If not, we need to go into executive session at this time. So I need a motion to go into executive.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Chaz, seconded by Naomi. Whereas while the Senator Byron M. Bayer Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12, requires all meetings of the Runnemede School District Board of Education to be held in public, NJSA 10:4-12B sets forth 9 types of matters that may lawfully be discussed in executive session without the public being permitted to attend. And whereas the Runnemede Public School District Board of Education has deemed it necessary to go into closed session to discuss certain matters which are exempted from the public, and whereas the 9 exemptions of the public meeting set forth in NJSA 10:4-12B are listed below, and next to each exception is a box within which the number of issues we privately discussed that fall within that exception shall be written, and after each exception is a space where additional information that will disclose as much information about the decision as possible without undermining the purpose of the exception shall be written. Now therefore be it resolved that the Runnemede Public School District Board of Education will go into closed session for the following reasons as outlined in NJSA 10:4-12B. Any pending or anticipated litigation or contract negotiation which the public body is or may become a party. Any matters falling within the attorney-client privilege to the extent that confidentiality is required in order for the attorney to exercise his ethical duties as a lawyer, more specifically a student matter. Also, any matter involving the employment, appointment, termination of employment, terms and conditions of employment, evaluation of the performance, promotion, or disciplining of any specific prospective public officer or employee or current public officer or employee employed or appointed by the public body unless all individual employees or appointees whose rights could be adversely affected request in writing that such matter or matters be discussed at a public meeting. More specifically, the superintendent evaluation and our new hires. Whereas the length of the executive session is undetermined, however, the Runnemede Public School District Board of Education will make every attempt to estimate the time of the session prior to convening the session, after which a public meeting shall reconvene in about 30 minutes. We will be taking a 5-minute recess to use the restroom before we start, though. I want to make that clear, and it is an estimate, Mr. Conner. The Board of Education will proceed with business. Now therefore be it resolved that the Runnemede Public School District Board of Education will go into executive for only the above stated reasons. Be it further resolved that the Runnemede Public School District Board of Education hereby declares that the discussion of the aforementioned subject may be made public at a time when the Runnemede Public School District Board of Education attorney advises that the disclosure of the discussion will not detrimentally affect any right, interest, or duty of the school district or any other entity with respect to said discussion. Be it further resolved that the Runnemede Public School District Board of Education, for the aforementioned reason, hereby declares that the public is excluded for the portion of the meeting during which the above discussion shall take place, and hereby directs the board secretary to take the appropriate action to effectuate the terms of this resolution. Be it further resolved that the board secretary on the next business day following this meeting shall furnish a copy of this resolution to any member of the public who requests one at the fees allowed by NJSA 47:1A-1. Action on any item may or may not be taken in open session at the conclusion of the executive session. All in favor of the executive session? Ayes have it. We will go into executive at. Okay, so we came into executive session and we are ready to proceed with normal business now. Ready to go?
Ready to go.
All right, under property and transportation, I need a motion, to approve items numbers 1 to 3.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Chaz, seconded by Naomi. Any questions?
Property and transportation.
Roll call.
Ms. Beebe?
Yes.
Mr. Buckon?
Yes.
Mr. Lego?
Mr. Lego? Mr. Lego?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Property and
Property
transportation.
Yeah, your name?
For field trips, yes.
Ms. Panzarella?
Yes.
Ms. Spalding?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Under
Oh, wait,
personnel.
Ms. Davis, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
Of course.
Look, I had him moved off from before. I'm like, oh, wait, let me say. There we go.
Under property and, personnel, I need a motion to approve items numbers 1 through 23.
I make a motion to approve items 1 through 21.
Naomi, seconded by Chaz. Any?
Needs 1 through 23, just to clarify.
1 through 23.
Yeah, 1 through
Yeah, we got one to.
I second.
We were asked.
No, just one instruction.
Have questions?
Yes.
Yeah, questions?
Wait, who was the second?
I second.
Chaz,
Oh, then I.
Naomi and Chaz.
Sorry.
Got it, question.
Number 14, should that say 17, 18?
Yes.
That's all.
1 point for Angel.
I mean, if we're keeping
We
score.
only need 4 more of them, right?
Any other questions?
Same with 19, it should be 17, 18. No, sorry, no, that's correct. My mistake.
Yeah, that was,
That's correct.
we good? Roll call.
Ms. Beebe?
Yes.
Mr. Buckheim?
Yes.
Ms. Davidson?
Yes.
Mr. Lego?
Yes.
Ms. Panzarella?
Yes.
Ms. Spalding?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Under finance, I need a motion to approve items numbers 1 through 17.
I make a motion to approve items number 1 through 17.
I'll second.
So just so you guys know, so that is Naomi and Maria. Miss Dr. McCarron, could you please, because this will be the question that is, because you called me last week, could you please explain 15?
Okay.
Thank you.
Alright, so last year's one audit finding that we had was the fact that the auditors reported on, and they had to report on, was the fact that we had too much money in our cafeteria fund.
Right.
Now, they put the caveat on that while we had too much money in our cafeteria fund, it was earmarked for a project, and you were allowed to have money because it's seen as a business, an enterprise account. So you aren't allowed to technically make money. You have to put that money back into what you're making money on. So if you're making money on food service, it has to be reinvested in food service. So with that being said, when we filled out the application this year, I informed everyone back in either May or June, we are not changing lunch prices. They will remain at $2.75. Because while we're still making money, we're good. We don't need to raise lunch prices. New tools have been put into place. So my lunch application over the summer months, when I submitted it, was denied. And they said, no, you need to fill out this tool, see where your lunch prices are. So I filled out the tool, and when I filled out the tool, it said that there's a minimum increase in lunch price of 10 cents, meaning the lowest you're able to offer lunches is $2.85. So I called I spoke with many different people at the state level. They said, we don't want to raise the prices, we want to keep it at $2.75. They said, you don't have a choice. If you want your lunch application approved for reimbursement, because what happens is we submit for free and reduced, we put all this in, it has to be a certain amount. One thing I will tell you now though is, so last year our thing was we had too much money. So one of the ways we were doing that was keeping like snacks low. So if we had pretzels for 35 cents, 50 cents. If we had cookies and they're 18, 20 cents, 25 cents a cookie for the little kids, that's fine, no problem. A new tool this year that the auditors had to fill out was a non-reimbursable tool to show that you're making an equal percentage of profit from your non-reimbursables as you are your reimbursables. So of course, that's one of the areas that I'll probably be discussing with you in October and November, and that we did not pass. So when I asked, well, where does this even come from? Because on one end you're telling me I have too much money, on the other end you're telling me I'm not making enough money. So two things you're going to be hearing this year possibly is number one, lunch prices are going up to $2.85, which is what we had to increase it to. Free, of course, remains free. Reduced is remaining at 40 cents. However, snacks are also increasing. So something that might have been 50 cents is now going to be $1. Or something, an extra slice of pizza, which might have been $1 or $1.25, we might have to make $1.75 or $2 based on this new tool. And when I spoke with the state saying, we know we're just trying to do different things, their concern is they would rather people purchase the full meal than purchasing the snacks or purchasing the extras. So it's just something that we are going to reevaluate. We've already spoken with Ruby. My office is already evaluating all those things. As of right now, that seems to be the one thing. Our audit happened last week. They walked away on Friday saying they weren't coming back. However, that was kind of the one thing that was still out there. So I'm not sure if that's going to be a verbal discussion that I have or something that will end up in the report, but that's the area that it should.
I think we'll take it.
I just wanted you guys to know that because
Absolutely.
that is something that I'll be a Wawa and someone will be like,
go over 10 cents.
do you know what? It's a disgrace that you raised the lunch amount.
Oh, I get it.
I wanted everyone to know because this is things that.
So I do apologize for the misinformation,
It's okay.
however, that's where it is right now. Angel, you have a question?
It's a really simple question. To make up the 10 cents, can you just add a cookie to the lunch?
No, the cookie's $1 now.
Right?
Well, it depends on what's in the cookie and what types of
It's
grains,
true, it has to
what
be,
types
yeah,
of
it's
grains
a
are in
model.
the cookie. So when we
I'm
just
just
went
saying, I'm
through,
getting them.
well, this year we
That
did go
makes
through a
sense
ton of
here.
audits with food service, procurement, and when I tell you, they literally break down every
These are
meal
freezing.
with, is it a half a cup, 3/4 a cup?
Yeah.
Do you have your dark green, your orange, your red, your
Okay.
alternate? And it has to be on point with everything. So I mean, we did our audit, so now we're good for 5 years, but I mean, they're extremely stringent
So
in
for the
terms
next
of what's
four, you'll have
reimbursable.
to
and what
raise it,
isn't.
what you're saying?
So cookies are probably not
No,
in the
correct.
menus.
No.
Can you
That's
include
an
the
idea.
I will look into it, just to say, we have a cookie dessert with every meal.
Or maybe a piece of fruit. There you go.
Well, we've already,
Banana.
Ruby's done a
Or
great,
apple.
what I will say is Ruby's done an excellent job at bringing fresh fruits and vegetables in, and the kids love it. So she'll do celery with ranch dressing, she'll do bananas, she'll do apples, and they can take that with their breakfast. So a lot of kids have been taking that with breakfast.
Thank you.
That was a recommendation, and fruit cups. So at the end of last year, she ended up getting fresh watermelon, things like that in.
Love
So they were doing fruit cups as well and selling those, because that was a request by students. But now it'll just be $5 for a fruit cup, so. Instead of the usual thing.
There's just so you know too, for number 14, we had got, just because some elected officials have already come up to me about this as well. Some school districts, chime in if I'm wrong, okay? Some school districts decided to give back to offset taxes, yes. We decided to put it into our budget, so some people weren't happy with that decision, but we're gonna take that additional aid and it's school aid funding and put it into the school.
And Chaz knows, because Chaz, myself, we went to that meeting where the elected officials were talking about the school aid formula and how, school districts are, it's making up for what wasn't there previously in the imbalance.
The imbalance in the funding. You had school districts in New Jersey that are getting 140% of their funding, 140%. And others are getting 60, 70% funding.
So while some school districts are revising their budgets and decreasing them because they're getting less money and they have to reduce their budgets that their boards had already created, our board was fortunate in the fact that we did receive that amount to add to the budget and to support this upcoming school year.
I just wanted to make you guys all aware of that as well. So any questions there?
No, no question.
Roll call.
Ms. Beebe?
Yes.
Mr. Buckon?
Yes.
Ms. Davidson?
Yes.
Mr. Lego? Yes. Ms. Panzarella?
Yes.
Ms. Walton?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Under curriculum, I need a motion to approve items numbers 1 through 4.
Make that motion.
Motion made by Chaz, second by Naomi. Any questions? Roll call.
Ms. Beebe?
Yes.
Mr. Buckon?
Yes.
Ms. Davidson?
Yes.
Mr. Lego?
Yes.
Ms. Panzarella?
Yes.
Ms. Walton?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Under policy and public relations, I have items numbers 1 and 2.
I'll make a motion to approve items 1 and 2 under public relations.
Second?
Motion made by Maria, seconded by Naomi. Just so you know, like Mrs. Yezzi stated earlier, like we have our little flags out front, home of the Hawks. We now have like a Runnemede schools magnet that like we're gonna have, and also some spiritware, an email. She sent out an email, so if you wanted any of that, that's what number 2 is, since we're all gonna be navy blue and we're all going to be the Hawks.
Is this the fundraiser for Bolts too?
No.
Those are voted on, so
We already have
we'll
them.
vote on those differently for the fundraisers that Bulls does.
She's trying, since we already have here, a lot of students have their,
Hawk stuff. She's trying to get some
I
in
mean,
the.
the magnet.
the
Oh
magnet.
yeah, anyone. It says Runnemede
Anyone.
schools with all. Yeah, they're in the main
Oh, yeah,
office.
yeah, this is Bingham County Bolts, the magnet.
Ms. Garnucci said he's going to get us all one.
I'd love to have one.
The extra funding, the school funding.
Take it into my
There's
pocket.
extra funding.
There's 6 people, they're 2 for $5. That's right. Mr. Silva, do the math, there's only 6 people.
Yeah.
There's 6 people.
Silva said he'll take one too.
I'm gonna put one on Mark's car.
We're gonna find another person. Patty.
Any questions there?
Yeah, all the policies?
Yes.
If we go to the policy site, sure, if we can, because I went, I don't see any notation on all the policies as what was changed. When we, in the past, we've gotten a hard copy and you like had it underlined or whatever.
It's not bolded?
It's not bolded or anything, I couldn't.
And then you
I just-
Okay, so I apologize. On the policy site,
Yeah.
When you go onto the district website, and I apologize, Jess, because now I'm understanding what it is you were asking for.
I just wanted to be able to see what the revisions were.
Okay, so what happens is that we work with Strauss Aspect. So on our policy site is our current policy.
Correct.
So once the board approves policies, revisions and changes are made. So the board receives in most cases the summary that tells you what the changes are, why the changes are being made. If you'd like to see the strike-throughs, Strauss Estimate offers that, which gives you the policy with the line across what wording's being changed and what wording's being added. I apologize because now I'm understanding the question that was asked.
Yeah, that's why I was going, because I wanted to go through these, the ones that were revised, to see what the revisions were. Couldn't find any revisions.
Correct, and we only had the summaries listed.
We'll get that.
Okay.
Bed bugs was a different one, huh? Bed bugs? Bed bugs.
If you want to get creeped out, this is what my exterminator told me. You know what the #1 biggest places where people pick up bed bugs? Movie theaters.
Well, I don't go.
I don't have to worry about it, see that?
Not one place.
I don't go to the movies.
Roll call.
If my kid's
Roll
in
call.
kindergarten.
Ms. Beebe,
Yes.
Mr. Buckhunt,
Yes.
Ms. Davidson,
Yes.
Mr. Lego,
Yes.
Ms. Panzarella,
Yes.
Ms. Spalding.
Yes.
Motion passes.
At this time, we're open for public comment. Does anyone have any public comments at this time? Ms. Thackeray?
Oh, I do.
Hi.
Going back to where Maria was saying that nobody comes here and all.
Yes. You have an idea?
Yes.
Okay.
I think you should do your, what's that called? When
Meet
you
and greet?
go? No, executive session. If you change that before the board meeting or, well, before would be, I think, more efficient for you guys. Like, say you did that 6:30 to 7.
You open up, say the pledge, go into executive, come back
Now,
out.
you do the executive before we
We
get
have
here.
to, we have to go into executive.
We do have to open it.
Yeah.
We have to
Okay.
open the public.
So I don't have to be there for you to do
Yeah.
No.
Um,
And then come at 7.
Right.
But we might be running a little bit late.
But that's okay. Or you could stop your discussion at 7, because you got people waiting.
Mhm.
Finish, come out, do your meeting, and go back into it at the end of your meeting.
The problem is if we have action, if we take
Right.
action in executive, we do have to come back in and just
Right.
vote on it.
But if you went right to the
But-
executive first, you shouldn't come back.
But a lot of districts do executive from 6 to 7 and
Right.
start their
And
meeting
start-
at
I
7.
know the high school does,
We
because,
have to.
Yeah.
because Dom had to do reports there, I would always go and support her. And they do their executive session, because people leave during this part.
Yeah.
Because, well, today's different than
Yes.
other meetings, but sometimes you're longer than 30 minutes
Right.
Yeah.
or whatever. And
Very
then
good.
the second thing I have, that just being here all this time, why do you have to read everything? Like, why do you have to read, like, why do you have to read all that? Resolve, like, I just don't get why, be it further resolved. It's something you do all the time. Other board members, other boards don't read that stuff.
Well, other boards probably didn't have,
Is it necessary to read?
I don't think
Well,
so.
at this point, we
The
adopted
call
it.
to
and we-
order, where everything's posted, like, is it necessary to read all that? I don't know the rules. Like, you sat there and read for 5 minutes, which you could have been in your executive order session, and I could have been here less than 5 minutes. Because,
Well, you may recall some situations a few years ago that maybe things weren't done properly. So I'm gonna say this, as board president, when I'm the board president, if anyone else wants to read it again, when I'm the board president, I'm going to read it, because it
Okay.
protects us. And I'm gonna do everything I can to protect the district.
Oh,
So,
okay.
as far as long as I'm the board president, which could change in January, I'm going to read it if we have executive, because it doesn't bother me to read that, and it tells you exactly why we're going in. Before, you guys were uninformed, but it's just a part of, the open public meetings, us trying to be transparent. You know why we're going in, and if you were really interested in why, you could then, ask us at a later date. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah, I get you. So what do you think about my executive session before?
I think that that's a great idea, but we'll have to talk about it in September when
Okay.
all of our board
Okay.
members are here, unfortunately.
Because you're trying to get people out, Maria,
Yeah.
and
And-
that's a discouragement.
And you don't ever have to feel funny about it. We are,
Very open.
you've been here for 25 years. We want your ideas and stuff, because maybe you think of something like that
I never
we didn't
speak
think of.
up, I never
Well, we
speak up.
need you to, we appreciate
And
you.
then you didn't vote on your executive session tonight.
I voted before you came in at
Go back
8:21.
into public.
Before, we voted to come back into
Oh.
public
Oh,
at
oh,
8:21.
All right. Okay.
8:21, correct?
Are you interested in running?
I can, I work in the district.
She's in play. Any other questions?
I need a job first.
We understand that.
Single parent doesn't cut it.
So the next regular, thank you for your suggestion. We really do appreciate it. We're not
Okay.
kidding.
I never speak up, but.
Board of Ed meeting is the next date is September 19th. September 19th.
Yeah. The barbecue is slated for September 5th.
Oh yeah, September 5th. What time?
What time?
5 to 7.
September 5th is our barbecue. All community members are welcome. Starts at what? 5 o'clock. Out of Volt. Please come up.
You might have more staff here because Sean put out that we can leave an hour earlier the next day.
Not supposed to tell the board that, Doc.
Now everybody except Debbie.
Debbie's staying an hour late.
Listen, I would, guess what? I probably would have given them more time off to get them back here, because it's really important for the kids to see them here. They look forward to it, they're excited,
Yeah, I've come
and they're
every
really
year.
bummed when they're not here.
That was
So,
awesome.
at this time, I need
I make
a motion to adjourn. Made by Chaz, second by Maria, all in favor? Ayes have it.